A very warm welcome back to you and welcome to live coverage from the Philippines and Manila of the Manila Major. It is the third major, of course, of the season. We're headed towards the international. Next, $9 million already in the pot for the amazing international later on in the year. But we're focused on Manila, of course, today. Day 1 of 9. The main event, of course, in 2 days' time. We're going to have a break after the group stage. Today we're focusing on Group A and Group B. And we've had a refresh on the panel. So let me introduce you to our 3 erstwhile colleagues. We have Nahaz back on the panel for the first time here at Manila Major. Welcome. We also have Toby One, who has done a little bit of commentary this morning as well. I think a little bit. Okay. Yeah, Empire-y stuff. And also Fogged, welcome back as well. Good to have you back. You had a good time this morning. Yeah, it was good fun.
Round 2.
These guys are going to get into the game fairly quickly. We're already into the draft, so we will get your thoughts as we go through. But we'll bring the draft up as we go along. There's a couple of bands already so far. Nahaz, we'll start with you. Interesting that we've got these two teams in particular in the lower bracket, right? It's lucky in many ways that this isn't elimination time for these two teams and that all of them carry on to the lower bracket regardless of whether they go out now. But did you really expect Wings and Secret to be in the lower bracket game?
Secret, I think, was kind of the high-variance team coming into the tournament. A lot of people wondering which version of that team would show up. They definitely had some communication problems in the last couple of events. Wings, though, yeah, I think a lot of people had Wings top 6, if not top 4, expected them to have a fairly easy time in this group. And, yeah, to see them come out and drop their first series was a major surprise.
Toby, thoughts?
I wasn't actually expecting Team Secret to do that well. I got to watch them on very closely during Epicenter, and a lot of the time it was this. You knew there was a lot of dyssynergy within the team, and I didn't know if they could repair it in time for the Manila Major. I wasn't backing them that much, but Wings, I did not expect them to be in this position. I actually had Wings up there in my top 4, top 5 for this competition.
I think almost everyone.
I think all of us did.
Yeah,
we did.
And the fact is that as we go into the draft now, Bounty's first pick, that's a new one so far here. We haven't had that so many times. We saw a little bit last time out at Epicenter, but it has been a popular pick in this particular patch. Because they did so well last time they were here in Manila, a lot of people were saying, well, they're going back home, they're in Manila again, they'll have that vibe, they'll remember how they won, and they should be really hot. And we know how they can play, albeit kind of some strange stuff with supports being put in mid and stuff going in the jungle that you don't expect. But we know how good they are, and yet here they are in the lower bracket.
Yeah, definitely shocking to see Wings here, but maybe they went a little bit too outside the box with what they were trying to do, and
I mean, they won
got
that
punished
game.
from it.
They won that game.
They did win that game. That is a good point. But
they did win that game. Okay, Darkseer is Secret's first pick. So no major surprises so far.
Where's the Phoenix?
Apart from the Phoenix, potentially, yeah.
Well, I like the fact, though, that Wings have gone in a different direction with the Bounty Hunter, and they really are. They're looking to punish that very greedy style that Secret plays, where they're trying to farm up 2 cores very, very heavily, relying on Universe to create a lot of space. I like the Bounty Hunter open. The Night Stalker pick, I'm a little bit dubious on. Death's Hero has really struggled. He's kind of near the bottom in our ELO shift ratings by hero. Hasn't had a lot of success in the offlane role, although Newbie ran him very effectively earlier today.
I think maybe that's kind of like a deterring, like a counter pick toward the Bounty Hunter, even though,
probably a 4 here, actually, of course, with the Darkseer.
Yep. Yeah, and also maybe, I think the Darkseer also kind of may have been a counter pick as well, because, the Bounty Hunter Darkseer, I think Wings is one of the teams that has ran it before, and Darkseer is one of their popular offlaners, and now we do see the Lifestealer picked up quite early. We haven't been seeing him too much.
No,
this is but it's been a Chinese staple though recently. Like the Lifestealer Lion Open is kind of the standard open for a lot of these squads, including Newbie. But I'm not surprised that Wings would pair it with the BH.
And it's also it's a hero that can tolerate the Ion Shell, of course, because you can either rage or you just attack the creep really quickly. And Feast works really well against it.
Still, a question for you though. We saw in at least a couple of the games earlier a Lifestealer really suffer early on, and it was actually Resolution's Lifestealer that suffered really badly early on in lane against a Darkseer, but because of course you can rage to prevent some of that damage, but you can't really use rage to farm the lane against Iron Shell.
As long as they have you need a support there. You need to at least have. I think Wings is usually recognizes that too. They emphasize on securing the short lane, so I think that they will probably have either the Bounty Hunter start there or maybe one of the other supports, if not even have a tri lane committed, because Secret could run that dual aggro tri lane, which we do see happen quite often if they don't opt to go for the Iron Talon jungle puppy. What's up, Toby?
How you doing, buddy?
What's up, man?
Hi.
How you doing, Toby?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I want to see more of this draft actually unveil.
Did you enjoy the drought game earlier?
I actually did. I did. There was a lot of enjoyment behind that one. I always like it when a Drow's able to come out on top, and thank you very much, Red.
I had to get one in early.
I'm glad you can keep the stereotypes going right now. Like if you really want to do it, we're red versus blue right now.
We actually are red versus blue right now. That does work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were around when that series was created. Unlike these. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
It's like pastely red and blue over there. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
I should have smelled that one coming from a mile away.
Love you, Nahaz. Oh.
So what do you make of the draft so far, Tabby?
Nothing really surprising for me. Like to see Team Secret pick up the Night Stalker. It's the same kind of thing the Puppy wanted to achieve with his 4-position Beastmaster before. It's just this kind of like presence on the lane, but you know you're going to have a vision advantage more than anything else. So, like Night Stalker will be great with that. Good, you know your Darkseer is going to be stable on the lane. You've seen issues with Team Secret so far with their drafts. They want to have something really simple. If they can get that Night Stalker to a point where he can reach his Aghanim Scepter, might be difficult when the Bounty Hunter's there. Means I'm looking more towards the 4-minute rotations coming out from Secret. Who works with the Night Stalker? What's that secondary support? How does he actually find the kills and make the most of that first nighttime phase, if he can?
How difficult is it, Fogged, for Secret to ban here against Wings?
I like this, though. They're taking an approach where they take the Darkseer, they take the Night Stalker, they ban the other two offlaners that Wings really likes, the Tidehunter and the Beastmaster, so they're kind of limiting that offlane a lot for Wings, because that's pretty much
do you think that's what
everything that they do. It really looks like
it. It does, doesn't it?
Because the only ones that they're missing is what? Batrider offlane, Furion, and
maybe they're not scared of the
Broodmother? I don't know. Something like that?
Not completely out of the question that this will be a Midnight Stalker either. The Dragon Knight ban right after you've picked the Night Stalker is a little bit interesting to me in that regard.
But that's a Wings hero. They love Dragon Knight. They love a million heroes, so that's kind of
it
was kind of hard to say.
So the Phoenix is going to come out second phase. No, we haven't necessarily seen that too often, but it's back again.
That's really
do you think
unexpected.
That's a mistake from Wings, or do you think they wouldn't have expected it?
Maybe they just
a mistake from Secret, or
no, a mistake from Wings in terms of not banning it.
Not banning second phase.
Yeah.
They intentionally picked the Bounty Hunter first. They kind of just left it there, so maybe they feel like it can get punished quite heavily.
Yeah. And we've seen Nyx against it today.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have.
And that was amazing performance.
Yes. Very effective.
Amazing performance.
Yeah. And it's funny actually because I think we saw a couple of Nyx against it at Epicenter, but it wasn't really played the same way.
Yep.
as it was played earlier today.
Yeah, and it was the big difference there, right? Is that I believe all of those matchups that I saw were a support Nyx or an offlane at best that didn't get very much, and it makes a big difference that the Nyx was over leveled in that game.
Wings have never picked it, but I would not put it past them picking a Nyx. Like it's extremely good versus Phoenix. I guess it's not really the best versus the Night Stalker, but it's great. It's decent for Darkseer as well. You know, later on in the game, Mana Burn can be quite obnoxious, and Carapace on the Ion Shells.
And you got that Night Stalker mid just sitting in my head right now.
I really
because like how is Secret meant to lane this? Do you actually run a Phoenix and a Night Stalker both supports? Can you get away with that, Fogged?
It's not the most optimal.
It seems odd to do.
Yeah. Well, Secret has pulled some weird stuff out in this tournament.
Yeah.
Like the last series, they had some really interesting stuff that they did as well.
I mean, I think
the Kunkka. Yeah.
What we've learned in the last couple of months is that you can run a lot of support combinations if you have a good scripted set of early game rotations that you run with them, right? If you really have a great set of rotations that are going to put pressure on the opposing lanes, you know, you can make a lot of support duos work.
But with this lineup, like you're almost running it differently. Like you're pushing it so you run the Night Stalker and the Phoenix into like a farm kind of role. Like you protect your safe lane, you find more D push than anything else and create space. Then like you just prioritize vision so you know where the Bounty Hunter is moving, so he doesn't screw you when you're inside your jungle as well. Because it's just like you can just run a straight Iron Talon Night Stalker and a Phoenix back babysitting the mid or the top lane.
This is such a Wings draft.
Your laners have to be so strong.
This is such a Wings draft.
What is that? Just Wings things. Hashtag just Wings things.
No, they really like the
Wings.
They really do like the second phase Slardar. I've seen them third pick Slardar in a couple games already, and it's just sort of a glue hero for their drafts. It gives them that AoE disable, gives them that way to amplify the physical damage done by the Lifestealer, gives them the vision advantage to go with the Bounty Hunter.
They may still have problems with the Phoenix, however, because now you're running like 3 melee heroes up against that Nova.
Exactly what I was about to say.
Still
out of me. That was a really good point. That's perfect, dude. No, that's actually perfect. But Slardar does give them as well an option for that Roshan, gives gives them a little bit more of objective-based. But yeah, 3 melee heroes running into the Phoenix can be a little bit difficult, especially because you're versus Darkseer as well.
Especially when you're blind for the last 2 heroes coming out of Team Secret. You're not 100% certain who you're up against here. Because like, if it is just going to be that mid and the safe laner, like, what do you even get? Now you also know there's like a Slider or Life Stealer. We go for more AoE control from the puck.
So not the Night Stalker mid.
Yeah.
I didn't really believe in it too much.
It didn't feel right.
Got a lot of lockdown. They kind of lacking physical damage heavily on Secret though. It's all pretty much magical damage at this point.
Yeah, this is feeling more and more like a single core strategy from Secret, and that's just so risky against Wings. Against what they're able to do.
It depends on the core. Like, it depends who you get up against. Like, if you actually can play Ember with vision advantage here, that's where my mind first goes here. Speak of the devil, Wings going to pick it up. You'd be able to like dodge Slatter's initiation. The Life Stealer couldn't control you at all. Like, that would have been a great way to go. But instead, Wings, they have the Ember Spirit now.
That's it's a vehicle for the Life Stealer if they want to use it like that, which is probably something we don't really see. That's at all, but
it wouldn't be a bad combo. Catch puck out at the right time.
Yeah, definitely catching the puck out because of course you can't phase shift during the Searing Chains. So that's a really interesting pick for them, just to pretty much countering the puck. And I think Ember Spirit's quite good versus Phoenix. You can get into that back line really easily.
I'm wondering how now Team Secret round up their lineup. Because we're still looking for the EE hero. Unless EE, surprising us all, would take Night Stalker, which would probably surprise us all. How does he battle up against Ember, Slider, and Life Stealer? You're still running now a 4 melee lineup from Wings.
And then they're going to pick Ricky last, right?
Oh, my God.
Double invis, mess with the puck as much as possible.
That would be the sickest thing.
Can you imagine that?
It's like you got no Monkey King Bar heroes as well.
I don't even want
disgusting.
EE can bring up his can bring up his PA because like there's no MKB heroes.
But look at this. It's a measure of how
disgusting.
it's a measure of how confident Wings feel.
Wait,
and
did they
how
not ban?
YOLO
They
they
didn't
are.
ban.
They didn't ban.
Why did they not ban?
Mind games.
This
is actually a Wings. This is a Wings strategy.
They're just like, we don't care.
It's either that or they maybe just ran out of time and that's
No.
This can screw up all your stats now.
Guys. We don't care. We've got this.
Look at what they've done here. Picking an Ember into a Night Stalker, a Puck, a Darkseer. They don't care.
Do
they don't care at all.
They genuinely don't care.
Do they Visage here?
Hello?
No, okay, they go for Disruptor. So that's pretty much first. Yep. That's pretty appropriate. Yeah, it's very good versus Darkseer, very good versus Puck and Phoenix.
Okay.
It doesn't give them really like a lot of gank potential on most of the lanes. However, like it feels like a real passive kind of thing. Like, you can counter it and maybe you can glimpse them back if you got the vision advantage. But how do you rotate down to the bot lane and help Lifestealer get a kill against if like Phoenix is down there or Darkseer surges away? You have to have the vision to get the glimpse or the levels to get the glimpse.
Yeah. I like that though. The amp plus the glimpse. That's cool. It's a nice
that'll work.
Nice little cheeky combo.
Amp and track plus glimpse.
Amp and track. Yeah.
That'll give you a vision.
Nice and cheeky. But okay.
Okay, so we were talking about the fact that they didn't have anything like that. Perfect pick, potentially.
Yeah, I like it. He
So
can
this-
kind of be left alone, so that we were talking about is the Phoenix, the best, being like kind of like the solo support, you could say, and he can kind of get left alone. But yeah.
Okay. Just before we go over to the commentators, very quickly, based on the draft, I'm going to give you the opportunity to predict the entire series. Go, Alan.
Predict the
Based
entire
on this
series.
one draft.
Yeah, because you get the draft. Normally, you have to do this before the draft. Quickly, go.
I'm going to take Wings here.
Okay.
I'm actually saying Wings, but 2-1.
Okay.
Up against Secret.
All right.
I'm gonna go Secret.
Okay.
I'm believing in them.
2 for Wings, 1 for Secret. We gave them a little bit of a chance that time round. Let's head back to the commentary desk for Game 1 of Game 3.
Our loser matchup in group number B. Letter B. Anyway, this matchup between Team Secret and Wings. Obviously, a lot of hopes riding on both sides. Which one of these two teams is going to end up bottom of their group? Like we're about to see. Game kicks off.
Wings Gaming versus Team Secret. Who will be victorious?
Who will win the knife round? Who? Oh, sorry. Oh, man, I sorry, can't wait wrong to get game, LT in here. All right, guys. It's Capitalists and Gods. What's your bets, Gods? We see this draft. I like Wings. I like Wings a lot here. They were one of my, I think they were a favorite team of a lot of people here, and I like this draft from them quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a few heroes which when I see Wings get, I'm just like, okay, they're in their comfort zone. But they've also been losing with some of those. Like the Alchemist Venuster, I'm like, I thought they were really going to win that game early today. They're going to lose it. Bounty Hunter to me is another similar pick. When I see Wings running Bounty Hunter, they just in their zone. Like, that to me is where they're going to be able to just control the tempo of the game, dominate the early game laning stage, and really catch teams off guard.
All right, well, Secret already starting things off right. They surprised Wings with a 4-man down to bottom lane. Obviously, with the Ion Shell, it's tough to actually contest that, so Wings don't even try. And in the process, Slardar was unable to pick up the top bounty rune that was being contested by Eternal Levy. And he also took a lot of damage in return as EE just went for the spin.
Yeah, so double bounty rune, not as big as it once was with the experience changes, but still going to give a little bit of an early edge to Team Secret. Specifically Arteezy in this mid lane, who is going to be playing the Puck vs Ember 1v1 matchup.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the matchups to really look out for, as well as that bottom lane where we're going to see Universe and Puppey pair up together as an aggro dual lane with the Night Stalker and Darkseer, trying to put pressure on the Lifestealer as early as possible. This is one of the things I like this about the draft, is that it abuses the Bounty Hunter pick quite a bit. It just means you know they're not going to have a very strong safe lane, even though yeah, Lifestealer is probably one of the better carries to match up against this, it still has an opportunity to work for Secret.
Yeah, it forces this response, which is Bounty Hunter going to be coming towards the bottom lane to effectively tri-lane against the dual lane, but this is just where Secret have to adjust, make sure they don't overextend in this 3v2 setup, and try and deny as much XP as early on as possible, which they're trying to do through this pull camp.
This also means that the Slardar is going to be matched up against dual lane of his own. Small little glimpse back, trying to get close enough to be able to get some damage on the Puppey, but he is rather tanky and he's decently fast too, so not really a problem for Secret there. The Phoenix, though, with the Juggernaut, unfortunately, they don't have a hard disable, so Slardar
got the
should
bash.
also do pretty well.
He went level 1, level 2 bash.
If he gets another bash,
Oh
this
my,
is crazy.
he
Looks
need
like
it.
he's just straight up got the kill with the slow. Oh, the dive! It came just a little bit too late. He finally got that level 2, but half a second too late. Pylai die will be your first blood.
I mean, that's Wings in a nutshell. They just do this crazy bonkers shit that you just don't expect. Suddenly, a slider right-clicks you and it's like a second hit bash or something at level 2. You're just like, as Pylai die there is probably just like scratching his head like, what just happened?
I didn't expect that one, that's for sure. Especially like as against the Juggernaut, the spin, they have no disable. You naturally think, oh, he's going to have sprint because he just wants to be able to get out of range of the spin, and he can play this lane really aggressively. But no. Well, let's play this even more aggressively, apparently, as Slardar is able to pick up the first kill of the game. Now we're going to have our Bounty Hunter trying to rotate into the middle lane. There's preemptively a counter ward left in place by Arteezy, but it's on the far right side here, and it's going to take a lot
solo
of
kill
damage.
though.
The chains does go out. The Sunrays coming in, trying to heal him up. Arteezy just barely face shifted that one, but the Shuriken in the end will be able to finish him off. It looks like with the dive, they'll get the counter kill, but still really important that the Ember Spirit is able to kill Artur there and reset this lane.
Yeah, the aggressive orb just allowing himself to... The Shuriken in the end needed to get the kill, but if Ember didn't kind of miss micro his hero, it wouldn't have been needed at all, so... Bit of a mistake there from Puck, who is going for an early double null build, so going for this very aggressive early game laning build, but not paying off at all.
Yeah, Arteezy really trying to punish the Ember Spirit as much as possible, but obviously that rebounds pretty heavily back onto him. The bounty rune picked up by Phoenix as he heads back up to the top lane, try and keep that Slardar under control, but it's just really not going to happen. You can see Slardar is already level 4 and does finally have a level of sprint as well as boots, so shouldn't really be much of an issue.
Yeah, with the start that Slider's had, he should be able to contest this lane pretty well.
Oh, nice crush, managing to catch Pylai die as well. He'll take a lot of Sunray damage, but this also means Pylai die is going to be dropping a bit low. The synergy gods. Sunray plus healing ward.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I was looking at these two heroes and I'm like, there isn't really much synergy there. You haven't got any kind of setup from Jug to Sunray hero down, but
yeah.
I guess, like you say, you just spam that Sunray, heal him back up. Envy often goes for more points in the healing ward than a lot of Jug players.
And minute 4, Puppey thinks he can get aggressive on Ice, and he might actually be right, even against the Bounty Hunter who showed up. They get the glimpse back onto Universe, but they now have the Ion Shell Shuriken. Oh! Ever so barely that's enough to be able to finish him off. The Shuriken plus the right-click hit of Shadow Walk. Bounty Hunter is able to finish off the Night Stalker just in time.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Puppey, and that's the start of the night as well. So he's dead at the very start. He can immediately head back out to the lanes, but that's at least maybe a quarter of this nighttime phase wasted. So bit of a hurt to Secret's early game. And this is not that jungle farming Night Stalker. This is just a level 3 Night Stalker who has been dual laning, only has 5 CS, so it's not like he can look to... He wants to get something done in this first night, even if it's just like a bit of pressure and harass here and there.
Yeah, but unfortunately without the silence, that's going to be even more difficult as he's just level 3. He's going to try and wrap around on mid, or maybe head up to the top lane.
Yeah, they've caught vision of the bounty hunter, so they know Innocence is up here.
So maybe a better opportunity to try and sneak the kill mid. If he rotates top, he'll just be scouted out by the bounty hunter either way.
Yeah,
He does have dust, though. If he catches the dust at the right time, he could solo kill the bounty hunter maybe, but obviously we know that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and Blink's going to hit level 6 in this mid lane on his Ember Spirit. So the initiation potential is there. If Arteezy uses his orb, he may just get initiated on by Blink, and that's just going to be a straight up kill here. Disruptor nearby as well, so Arteezy has to play this very carefully.
Maybe the right kind of glimpse. It is only level 1. He went for the extra level of Thunderstrike, I think, in a fight. And he get real quick damage on Artur. He doesn't actually immediately pop the orb, but I think he was hoping to try and bait that one out. So when Artur comes back into lane, maybe the orb is on cooldown for a few seconds, but not the case here. TZ holds on to it. The bounty rune, or the runes in general, are going to be covered here by Wings. They're going to be able to pick up the bounty at top lane, regen, raiding at bottom lane.
It's definitely not great news that Secret have to spend this entire first nighttime playing passively, but at least they are getting good farm in 2 of the lanes with the Puck and the Juggernaut. The Darkseer's getting a bit out of the off lane plus the jungle, so it's not all bad news for them, but it's a much slower pace than we've come to expect from that 4-position Night Stalker. Normally it's 4 minutes in, roam around the map. You play that like that super bounty hunter almost.
And I do think that this, in fact, this is something that Charlie and I were discussing last night over dinner. The fact that we really feel like Secret, in order to succeed, have to be able to put Artur in that space-creating role, right? He can't just be more of a farmer because, you know, Universes can't always be able to create all the space in the world for 2 different cores that are greedy as hell. So Arteezy actually playing the Puck, I think, sets Secret up for at least better opportunities than we saw in the previous series.
Yeah, and it's a hero that is also somewhat self-sufficient, at least has a way to get away from ganks, so you're not like, it's not like the supports have to commit a ton of time to babysitting him in the mid lane, making sure he has a good time.
Yeah, we can actually see that rotation coming out now as Secret going to move both of their supports from top to bottom, and it looks like they will manage to catch Ice. He's going to try and dip through the trees here, going to be attempted to run down by Universe on the Darkseer, but it's not good enough. Clean escape there, and rotation failed.
Okay, mid lane looked like there was a bit of an attempted poke from Innocence, but not even getting any damage out onto Arteezy, who has a regen rune. So very static lanes right now for Wings especially, outside of the Bounty Hunter, who is that kind of roaming hero. But we're not going to see a TP just yet or any kind of big move from Shadow on the Lifestealer, who's probably the big one who can make that first play. Should Secret go for a dive? I think that's where he's waiting for some over-aggression out of someone like Puppey on the Night Stalker.
Yeah, exactly. Especially since your offlaner is a Slardar. His timing, he peaks really, really high when he has that Blink Dagger, right? And they could have some great combos. But until then, if he really wants to get active as the Lifestealer and use some sort of Infest Bomb, it's probably going to have to be on the Ember Spirit. I think in general, it's just Wings are going to be happy just sitting things out and biding their time, just trying to get to that 15-minute marker where I think they'll hit really strong. Arteezy coming in with the invis. He's going to look for the coil. Will be able to catch Ice. Free kill there, but unfortunately, the nature of the Lifestealer makes him too tough to gank.
Yeah, just a quick pick. Not something they can transition into a tower, so not too meaningful for Secret. But it is daytime, so this is kind of the farming stage of the game for them. The one thing I don't like for Wings is something I saw in an early game with Faith Beyond on the offlane for them. The Slider doesn't go for the Iron Talon, and I think he misses out on at least some farm because of this. There was an earlier game as well where he played Beastmaster. He went for the Quelling Blade, was jungling a little bit with his Boar, but he never actually upgrades it to Iron Talon. It's such a good item, it gives you a bit of armor, and there's really no reason not to get it.
Didn't see this one coming, the Infest into the Bounty Hunter. Forgot there was that option as well, so they may just be able to catch out the Juggernaut. It's going to need to be led with a Slitherine Crush, most likely. Otherwise, Eternal Envy's just going to be able to spin and probably run himself away.
Yeah, they know he's there, amped up, but the amp will get immediately dispelled by a Blade Fury, so... Going to try punish Puppey's jungle, and that's actually perhaps the much safer, reliable play to make.
Yeah, very smart. I mean, they know Puppey's going to be jungling, they get this free kill, they can start putting some pressure on the top lane or maybe mid from there. So Wings, 4-2 now. as they poke out with their safe lane carry, and this also gives the opportunity for Disruptor, and that's another reason, right? You could say that Wings are very likely to play a lot more static in their laning phase. They've got a support there at the bottom lane that needs his level 6, so some space being bought there, but it looks like it's going to be punished almost immediately.
And at some point, they also want to get the Bounty Hunters level 6. Where the Tomb of Experience being added did effectively give a small buff to some of these heroes like Bounty Hunter, who roam around.
Ice, he throws down his ultimate, managed to catch the Static Storm a little bit on RTZ, but he's actually drawing a lot of damage, and he may still be able to get out of here. The orb actually lands on him. The silence finish him off. RTZ is now left with no escape mechanism, except for the Surge that comes in just in time for Universe. So clean escape there, forced to TP rotation, but in the end, Wings' cores are still looking pretty decent. They're all behind the Juggernaut and the Puck, but not by much.
Yeah, and when we see the Slider Blink Dagger coming online, that's where there will be those first smoke rotations. The Ember Spirit may wait for his boot to travel, so he might try sit in a lane or tell his Slider, like, go find a kill or two without me, go with Shadow on the Lifestealer, and then I'll join up later with boot to travel, but Wings will very much up the tempo as soon as that Blink is online with Bounty Hunter's track as well.
And would you say like Wings is kind of like that 15-minute aggression is one of their signature styles that they're most effective at?
Absolutely. That's often, if they don't have like a really big laning stage advantage, and they've drafted around like getting a bit of an edge out of the Bounty Hunter, but Bounty Hunter is one of those heroes where you're not reliant on the early game going well. You have that kind of plan B, which is wait till that around 15 minutes, you get track up, you start playing aggressive, you get kills, and you snowball out of control.
So this could be kind of the bread and butter of Wings, and with that Bounty Hunter, they should be able to have that extra bit of oomph to all of their ganks and really be able to build themselves a serious lead. And that means this is also the most critical period of time for Secret to make sure that they don't get run over. It's also nighttime as well, so they're going to try for it. They've got a really long nighttime. They just popped the darkness. It's going to go to the 12-minute mark and go full dark for Wings.
This poor Disruptor. Every single time these ganks come his way. He's even gone Tranquil's Windlace for that extra movement speed. This could backfire a lot for Bounty Hunter if he's not careful.
It really could with all this smoke. They are going to bring the Ember Spirit down, and they may actually be able to pincer. Oh no, the dive away. Pilot dive managed to get the Supernova, but immediately to pop out the Rage, and they will be able to take out that Supernova immediately. Support for support. Now they manage to get the Night Stalker as well, and Innocence will be able to get away. Universe pops the Surge and runs himself out, but I think this Ember Spirit, especially with that beautiful blink forward from Faithbian, will be able to catch out too. Eternal Envy's also going to fall as they just get right-clicked down by Shadow. 4 down from Secret. Make it potentially 5 as Arteezy, he's going to try and jump back to his orb, but now the Slardar is going to be able to blink forward, catching him out, managed to get the bash as well. A full wipe at 12.5 minutes in. You couldn't have set it up any better. We said Wings, 15-minute aggression around that period of time. That's what they're best at, and we see it right there.
They were just ready to go. The pieces just fell into place. They only had 3 heroes down there initially, but they were ready for that secret movement down bottom. Something that it felt like Na'Vi took advantage of as well, just Secret perhaps going for these 2 predictable rotations. It's 12 minutes in, second night phase is there. You know the Puck with his newly picked up Veil wants to fight, wants to go for some aggression. Same for Puppey. He doesn't want to just sit in the jungle. He's already gotten very little out of the first night stage. It's the second one. He wants to go fight, and that lane ward bottom, yeah, it doesn't see the smoked up heroes behind, but when Universe is a solo Darkseer pushing past that ward deep near the tower, you kind of know something's a bit fishy. You're wondering, like, why is this Darkseer pushed up to our tower with no backup whatsoever when we've got Ember, Bounty, Disruptor, all these great heroes to catch him?
And Wings not going to let up on the brakes one bit. The smoke, oh no, he just went for the blind blink in, knowing that the smoke was popped. Doesn't get anything just yet, as it looks like Wings are going to be successfully rebuffed by Secret. Ice may actually be caught out. Oh, like this play. Deanne actually moves over, managed to catch the Puppey Night Stalker, slowing him down with the open wounds. Will be able to get that track kill as well. That simultaneously got themselves a pickoff, a track kill, and also kind of protected Ice. If they all just retreated down river, it might have been the Disruptor would have been the last one out, and an easy pickoff for Secret instead.
Yeah, so they get Bounty's Arcane Boots off of this, and this is such a dangerous stage of the game. And that's with it being nighttime. It only gets worse as soon as we reach that next day, and Wings have such good pick-off potential. The Disruptor pickup with the Slider and Bounty Hunter when you have tracked and amped heroes means if you commit to a fight as Secret, you can't disengage. You are fully committed. So you have to make sure any team fight you have you have your entire team there, and you get the perfect initiation. Because as soon as things go badly, Wings will win. Like, they'll get a team wipe. That's what we saw at bottom. It's either all or nothing with Team Secret when you're versing a draft like this.
Oh, did he catch him? He managed to get the dust on him. The track is going to give him some extra movement speed. The rest of the team is close by. Two-man stun. Starting things off for the Slardar. Double shuriken as well. The track kills are potentially there for Wings if they can just get the rest of the team into that secret shop. They'll lock down Puppey, get that one kill. The orb comes on through, and now the Omni Slash brings Shadow a bit low, looking for that Infest out. 5 more seconds till that's up. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to make the escape. Faith BN can only do so much to be able to stall that kill. Meanwhile, the Ember Spear does have to jump away. Shouldn't be an issue there. Jumps over behind the mid tier 1 tower, at least where it was, and TP's out successfully.
Yeah, good commitment from Secret. Once they know the bounty's there, they just caught him with the dust. They commit everything. They make sure Envy's coming into the fight. They have Arteezy there as well, ready to go, and there's no half measures when you're versing Wings. So Wings perhaps bite off a bit more than they can chew at this stage, but that's not going to throw them off. If you're Wings, I think you just go, you go right back at Secret, and they're smoking before Lifestealer even respawns. He's not going to be here. He hasn't got a global TP.
This is very likely to catch Secret totally unawares. The double damage on Slardar, and even if they run into a support because they have a bounty hunter, this all becomes well worth it unless, oh no, the glimpse back should still be able to catch him, as I don't think Pylai can actually get off a Supernova. That would have obviously still meant his death, so he holds on to that cooldown. Wings do get the pick off. It is a track kill as well, which makes it all the more successful.
Yeah, this is an okay stage just to chew through smokes to find track kills, because it gives you such a good gold boost, gets you towards that mech on the bounty hunter, and for Wings it's very much all-out aggression, and they can keep on doing this. They want to also fight before Arteezy gets the Blink Dagger where possible, so we'll see how much more they can do. Now that it's daytime once again, I imagine they're going to be looking to use this bounty hunter to try scout out even more pickups.
Yeah, that is one of the things about this new build on the puck. It does offer some better times going, 25 minutes. You actually hit really hard. You have all this mobility, but in this weird period of time where you have the Veil but you don't have the Blink, it's actually something that teams may be able to take advantage of now. Obviously, we saw earlier, they spotted out that ward placement from the bounty hunter, but it's top lane where Secret may be trapped like rats. Puppey does not have a TP out, and he's going to start Iron Taloning his way out to freedom.
Teams are just getting so much better at using scans. We see a scan onto the tier 2, basically trying to see, okay, is someone either retreating from the tier 1 or coming to back up to defend this tower, and they did get vision of something, so Innocence is already trying to see exactly what they saw, and Puppey may get caught out as a result.
Yeah, he sees it. The sprint is activated. Slardar is going to be able to catch up in another track kill and maybe a forced TP. That's actually going to be completed by Arteezy. He thinks he's going to be able to get the bounty hunter, but I
think Phoenix
lack
is
of
dust.
Vision? Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be coming in. Ward laid out, but it's a little bit too late. Now the rest of Wings are going to be able to jump in. Pylai take it out before the Supernova, and that's big even as the orb comes through from Arteezy, and he does a lot of damage. He's now left stranded underneath this tier 2 tower as Wings surrounding, hoping to be able to take out this mid player, and it shouldn't really be an issue. Chain stun, and with that amp damage, with the Lifestealer as well, who's got an armlet, as well as an Echo Saber already. The damage is too much for Arteezy to be able to work, and now Eternal Envy might actually be taking too much as he goes for a spin. What is happening?
He went greedy for the tower, like, okay, I'm going to Blade Fury the tower. It gets denied, and then on top of that, Shadow's like, oh, I also got your kill. So this is, like, just a tilt, like, more than anything. Like, I mean, Secret just got 2-0'd by Na'Vi. They're going to go into the next series, and this is the kind of draft which will, like, kind of really just mentally challenge you as well, because it's so aggressive. You give up a couple kills, you know it's track money, and you know they're going to just keep coming at you and continue to fight. So if you're not playing like perfect polished Dota, this draft will get 1 kill a minute, and we're almost at that point for Wings.
Ever since that bottom fight, Secret have always been on the back foot, and I don't think they pretty much after that bottom fight, I don't think they were ever really in a position to be able to 5-man and fight Wings ever again, because you just know even if you kind of do okay in that fight, you're going to trade off track kills. So now it's just left, okay, try and push this game a little bit later, which is something that Secret usually like to be able to do, but they don't even have the Battle Fury yet on Juggernaut, which means he's just inevitably going to fall way too far behind.
I don't think they've got the late game to really fall back on either. Not with like a Darks. They've got the team fight in the late game, but they haven't got the carries to scale in the late game.
Yeah,
Night Stalker's not close to an Ag Scepter. Jug can kind of scale well, but he's versing like 2 to 3 core heroes when you look at what Slardar, Ember, and Lifesteal. These are all pretty good late game forwards.
Oh, and Eternal Envy not going to be quick enough on the fingers. Slithering Crush locks him down. Lifestealer takes him out. And now it's time for Wings to just enjoy the spoils of victory. They can back out, farm away. As you said, they've got very clearly the cores to be able to take late game with both Ember Spirit and Lifestealer. And we're talking about late game like it's something that we may actually see. But 20 minutes in, this is looking like a game that Wings is just going to roll over Secret and win by 30.
That's the thing. You get to 25 minutes in, what's currently a 7.5k goal lead gets to 10k. They're just going to look to keep on increasing this lead. And you're going to get to maybe 30 minutes in where you're ready to end the game because you've got 15k gold lead. You've kept finding more track kills. You've continued to just farm your way to a first Rosh and a second Rosh. They can take Rosh whenever they want. I think more than anything, they're just like, well, taking Rosh is time where we could be pressuring Secret, taking towers, getting kills. So we're just going to wait a little bit and go for Rosh later.
Yeah, and this is probably a big part of the reason why Wings were willing to blow smoke after smoke after smoke, right? They knew Secret had to be able to do well in that 15 to 20 minute marker, and if Wings actually rolled over in that period of time, well, there's not much Secret can really do. Eternal Envy isn't farmed enough that he's not going to be a threat at 25 or 30 minutes without a battle theory picked up early, and they obviously have the late game to be able to fall back on as well as for Wings. So they throw everything into those periods of time, play ultra aggressive, get the pickoffs they need, and now going to be able to go all the more. Puppy's going to be the first target here. They managed to get a decent jump there from Arteezy, but it's just not enough. Now, bringing him back right into the Static Storm. He's able to get the jump away with the phase shift combination. Beautiful play from Arteezy, but again, it isn't really going to be enough. The Supernova way in the back line, and actually, Secret may have just lured Wings into a bad position with the Omnislash going down. They actually do get the Lifestealer. Oh, man. Secret punishing now as Arteezy's going to jump in for more, but a two-man crush. Oh no, Secret, are you the ones who went a little bit too far? Phase shift only going to last so long, and Arteezy is going to be left out to dry. Another track kill going the way of Wings, just as you think. Secret have a small opening to be able to get something back for themselves. They still feed away another track kill.
Yeah, I guess Arteezy did have his blink completed. They're not done yet, though. Secret thinking about defending the tier 1, but better act quickly if that's the case, and it doesn't look like they've got the tools to do so. All their ultis on cooldown, so they committed pretty much everything. They get a lifesteal, which is a high-value pickup, but Wings get an objective. They continue to have momentum in their favor as well, and with this tier 1 bottom tower down, taking Roshan now gets that much easier.
Blink Dagger for Ice Ice, a Disruptor with a 22-minute Blink Dagger. That's definitely a scary thought.
And not your everyday Disruptor item, but this item gets so much better because they've got the vision tools in Bounty Hunter and Slaughter with their ultimates. So being able to reposition and catch those here, just get that little bit closer to get those glimpses off becomes that much more powerful.
Wings, 4-man in mid, 1 at top. Ember Spirit is free to pretty much do as he likes, just because Secret have been pushed back so far that it's unlikely for them to ever be able to get in an aggressive stance. They're going to be able to go for another smoke, wrap around behind the tier 2 at top, or maybe the tier 2 mid. This cut between the tier 3s.
The Slaughter's picked up a Reaver of all items. Second item Reaver.
Jesus.
I've never seen anything like that. Perhaps Wings have done it before, but
if he gets a heart early, how do you even deal with that? Like Secret actually may not have the damage to be able to pop that hero, which normally you can, right? Because Sprint amplifies that damage. You're relying on that mobility. Oh no, it's her Levy. He thinks this is an opportunity to be able to farm the stack. He's gone already. Can't even call it fast enough. The Ember Spirit now with the Battle Fury is going to be able to take that stack. And what little hope there was remaining for Secret, I think, just got extinguished with that stack.
That was a crazy good smoke from Wings. They got themselves in position where they could use the Observer Ward, scouting out the Ancients area. They bypassed the Secret vision around the Roshan pit, and they have a pretty good idea that Secret aren't going to... They knew Secret didn't have a ward on top of theirs with their sentry, so there's not going to be any vision over where that tier 1 bottom tower normally is.
Oh, crazy play here. Supernova going out of the side, but Arteezy does manage to get silenced up before he can do much there. Great Static Storm from Ice Ice, and now Pylite Die refreshed up. Does manage... Oh, has he got the glimpse? He's got it in play. Pylite Die is going to be pulled back right into Volvian as well as Blink.
That's almost like the game right there. They're not going to quite call it with the tier 2 towers still up, but that's that YOLO all in. Let's try and contest Roshan, and you just give them multiple track kills. You lose your mid puck, you lose Aegis, and Wings get even further ahead.
Yeah, you know if you're Secret, you had to do something desperate, and that was definitely the desperate play. But This doesn't work out for them. The Blink Dagger now up for Blink. We saw that earlier. And he already has another 1,600 gold.
Interesting to see the pipe over the mech, but a very good item against the Puck who has built into the Veil. It's going to give some great just self-sustainability, but also more importantly the team fight factor where his whole team can block a lot of that Puck damage output.
Yeah, and give them opportunities to push high ground a lot earlier. Being able to keep those creeps alive against the Veil spam.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
With the Desolator, they can actually challenge some of these tier 2s and even tier 3s rather early on, just considering how far ahead they really are. Looks like they may have found another one here on the left-hand side. We're going to see Eternal Envy. It's going to be Static Stormed immediately. Good combo. Ice, Ice. Once again, showing off that Blink Dagger with the instant disables on some of these heroes that usually have some great defense mechanisms, the Puck as well as the Juggernaut, but the Disruptor that's this far ahead is punishing them.
Yeah, you think of a Jug kind of farming alone there, as long as he can blade through TP away. The one thing that could catch him by surprise is the Slatter, who's not there, but Blink Static Storm also does the trick, and Wings now should find themselves a free tier 2 tower up top. I really feel it's the time for Secret to fight right now. They're against an Aegis. High ground is going to be your best bet, but Wings, if you stay on your high ground, Wings can always just kind of play the slow roll game. Just maintain map control, de-ward the entire map, farm your jungle, farm their side of the map, farm your side of the map, and just get further and further ahead.
Yeah, what we're really going to see here in the next few minutes is more about Wings than anything else. It's going to be how patient and how disciplined they really want to be in this kind of match, where they very clearly have a gigantic lead, and they could potentially end the game right here in the next 5 minutes. But it does come at a small risk, very small, but they could keep that risk even smaller if they just spend more time out farming Secret.
And every play Secret's making, it feels like a desperation play. The Roche contest, now they're going to go for a 4-man smoke, sit behind Eternal Envy. It's kind of like these desperation smokes that you're just hoping gets yourself in a good position to take a team fight, but realistically, Wings aren't having any of this.
Maybe they can get the Ember Spirit, the Blink forward from Arteezy, leading with a Silence. Could have caught out Blink. They may still. Inside the trees? No. Got out in time.
Close, and I believe Nighttime... Okay, so he will be coming back around the 28-minute mark, but it's Wings who are going to cut off the retreat.
Yeah, they're going to be able to catch Secret. Secret now running back downwards, maybe realizing that they're trapped on the enemy side of the base. Pylon Die is going to be spotted out here, does have the dive, tries to get away, has track on himself. Just don't think that's going to happen. Not with the Disruptor on the team. Another track kill for Wings.
Starting to add up. The gem is there for Wings, so they can take out all the vision of Team Secret. And it's just one out of tower for the other. So it seems like, I'm about to say mid lane, they've just dived the high ground. I was about to say, it seems like Wings are taking this slow, but no, they're ready to dive.
They take one, make it two, as Puppy's also going to go down. Arteezy can't really stop them with the Dream Coil. They glimpse back Arteezy, phase shift, blink out, he'll be okay, but only for a few minutes it seems, as Wings are just not going to give Secret any room. I mean, this is game number 1. Maybe Wings going for a psychological play, trying to break their spirit as soon as possible in this series by ending the game outright.
The Slider with the hut literally just blind linked onto the high ground of a tier 3 tower and found a crush. And he's like, oh, sweet, that's a kill, I'll take it.
Yeah. With the heart, you can make those kind of plays fearlessly, knowing Secret just do not have the damage to eat through you fast enough. Lifestealer inside, they can't challenge you either. There goes the lane of Rax. Wings, happy with the pickoff. Start backing up. Phoenix, I think, hoping to be able to draw Wings back inside, as that's really the only way. Oh, Ice jumps in. Okay, not being able to get that kinetic field, forcing out the Supernova. And okay, now let's really call it a day. Wings will back themselves away. Double chain, never mind. Jump back in, Bian. Missing the crush. The pipe is going to be able to keep them protected a little bit. Secret.
It's strange because it keeps feeling like, okay, time to back off Wings.
Yeah.
Like, you just lost your Aegis, you just wasted
Oh,
Static
no,
Storm,
another
but no.
two-man crush. They're just like, we're so far ahead. Let's keep on going. Underneath tier 4 towers.
I mean, most of the time you waste Static Storm and Aegis, you have to back off, but as you said, too far ahead.
And now the jump in, two-man crush once again with the Lifestealer popping out already. Eternal Envy's gone. No Omni Slash opportunities. That's it. Puppy's calling it. The leader says this is This is not good.
Classic Wings gaming, a kill a minute, aggression. They start off maybe a bit slower in the laning stage, but once they get going, boy do they get going. And this is why like the Bounty Hunter is just one of those most banned heroes when you're versing Wings, because their mid-game with Bounty is just scary.
I'm not sure what other way to really put it. Secret, an embarrassing defeat here in game number 1 in this best of 3, maybe going out bottom of their group.
You can see it here. These guys are just not even talking. They're just like, what has happened today? 2-0'd by Na'Vi. They had a close game 1, game 2, not close at all. And this game, kind of similar. They just look completely flat. They don't look like the Team Secret of many months ago, that the Team Secret from the Shanghai Major that people have come to kind of expect out of this caliber of team.
All right, well, fortunately it was a very straightforward game. It'll make it a lot easier for our analysts who need every bit of help they could possibly get.
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much, Cam. Yeah, well, I'll give them a fair chance to respond to that in a minute, but crazy first game from Wings. Hashtag just Wings things. I think that one's definitely a thing now. Fogged, I'm just going to let you impale yourself on your own prediction.
I really want to, because I even said it.
I think you deserve to.
I deserve it. I really do.
You do deserve it.
I said it right away. I was like, man, they have only spell damage, and there's a life stealer. I'm going to go Secret. You know
no,
what?
Like you kind of talked yourself out of it, and then you just went with it. I was like, oh, okay, then, well, that seems weird, but all right, I'm not the expert.
I'll go ahead and take 85% of that blame, and I'll throw 50% on Toby for getting that idea of the Phoenix and there's melee heroes in my head. So
right.
you can throw a little bit on me, but obviously it proves I've developed as an analyst because I was able to change my opinion after I realized how things were going poorly.
Okay, Toby won.
You're really going to puff yourself up over that, huh, Toby?
Expert analysis.
I'm well, yeah.
Okay,
Seems good.
Seems good
Hey,
indeed.
I need all the help I can get. Obviously,
Well, Cap said.
Hey, Cap was saying, yeah, we did need a lot of help. I don't get it from him, though. I get it from Blitz.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Let's not go there right now because that's too early.
I deserve anything that comes out.
This segment is about as ugly as that game. But as you look at these graphs, this is just, it was domination from start to finish. I love these, by the way. These are dynamic GPM, XPM, and kill graphs, so you can see how the entire team grew and evolved over the course of the match.
Or didn't.
Or didn't. And you can just see how one-sided this was. I mean, it's saying that it ended at 28 minutes is just drastically understating the case.
It kind of ended at 12 minutes, aka when Slaughter picked up his blink dagger.
Yeah,
like that had to be one of the critical moments for him. Like at that point, and you actually took a team which didn't actually have any real straight initiation. They only had like counter initiation from the Disruptor, and you gave them the ability to then walk all over him. Like Jackie Malco get absolutely nothing done, and he was forced into fights he never wanted to take.
But just look at that last one, that the gold distribution across all 5 wings. It's just like a perfect fan almost. They're getting farm just because of the new AoE gold dynamics where they're winning fights and they're getting farm on all their heroes. The supports are actually getting a little bit more gold from those assists than they would have because of the redistribution based on net worth rankings. They're able to just get those items up on their entire team. You saw the early hood, the early pipe up on the bounty hunter, those support items, so that all 5 of their heroes are able to contribute in every engagement.
Yep. Let's take a look back at some of the highlights. And if you're a Wings fan, these are great. But if you're a Secret fan, even this opening one is pretty disgusting.
The Bounty Hunter's positioning in this fight is absolutely perfect. He just wraps up from behind. He's got the infested Lifestealer, and here we go. Eggs out, but guess what? There's a Lifestealer right there with a Bounty Hunter.
The crazy thing is, too, they didn't even set up for this. Like, they may have read the fact that Secret were moving, but originally, Bounty Hunter was looking to do what he was doing before. Like, they moved in with an infest movement to kill off Puppy when he was inside the Dire Jungle only a couple of minutes before this. And then they combine again. The second you get on infest off cooldown, they move over towards Roshan, towards the Dire Range, just thinking maybe Secret are farming that. Nope, they come down and they get an entire team wipe, not to mention a huge injection of money into that Lifestealer.
Yeah, I mean, from here on in, I mean, I think, Fogg, you were saying it's interesting. It looks like Secret have kind of built an early game lineup here. Yep. Where was it?
Just, I guess, like you guys were saying too before, the Phoenix just wasn't really the best support to be able to do that, and you could see how heavily it got punished because Slaughter got what? It was a pre-11-minute blink dagger.
It was right, yeah, like 11,
it was
12-20.
Oh, it was 12-20?
12-20.
So 12-20-minute blink dagger, so it solves all their problems. Having that blink dagger, and then they get the level 6 on Bounty Hunter, and then, yeah, you basically got everything you need to fight constantly, and Secret just can't.
I still can't believe, too, like, you get your initiation, then you just build into this point where Secret can't do jack, Like, it was, what, a 30-minute hard as well over onto that slider?
Maybe earlier.
They just outlasted them. Like, you have a bounty who's like, I don't need to get Greaves. I don't need to get a mech. My team is living anyway, so pipe.
I have to ask you this, Fug, because, I mean, you watch this with me, you're watching these highlights as I'm watching them. Is Secret talking at all during these fights? Because I was looking at their replays from Epicenter before this tournament, and it just looked like they were not communicating at all during a lot of these team engagements.
Maybe they have to have something going on with their synergy. Something has to be happening because they look kind of like all over the place.
Yeah,
like,
there are 5 different players going for 5 different objectives in the middle of a lot of these fights.
I can't just say that Secret's not communicating because also Wings is playing like that game was pretty perfect by them. Their movement,
Sure.
they were predicting the movements, they were getting exactly what they needed for the fights, and then they knew exactly what Secret was gonna do basically.
Yep. I'm still wondering if that Juggernaut pick was the right one. And I was saying that before, and you guys were like a little bit iffy about it. But I still feel like Team Secret with that Juggernaut pick, it didn't do enough early on. And like the Ember Spirit was able to get involved. Like, he just like Flame Guard, I got Searing Chains, I can do stuff with the supports who are in my lane. I glimpse back into Searing Chains, I can do something there. Then you get yourself a Juggernaut, and the first thing Juggernaut was involved in was, I can help farm up some Ancients, which by that point Wings were already initiating on you and forcing a fight which then he could not win.
At the end of the day, though, was there a right pick? That's the question. I think you had drafted yourself into a corner by that point. At that point, there was only one hero left when you picked the Juggernaut, and you picked a hero that's very strong at a point in the game that you thought you could win. Juggernaut had been, I think, 33 and 21 before this game in this patch in 20 to 40-minute matches. He's a very strong mid-gamer. But at that point, you already had a 4 magic damage hero-based lineup against the Lifestealers we've been talking about the whole time. I don't know that there was a hero at that point that could have saved Secret's draft.
Yep. Well, poor draft. I think we'd agree with that. Let's also talk about the other draft, which was the Wings draft. Like, we don't even need to ban everyone. Like, what's that all about? Is that just is that the ultra confident Wings coming up? Was it a mistake?
They probably ran it, just didn't notice
Do you
their
think?
time.
I mean,
or they're just mind game professionals.
Yeah.
Like that always tells people, it's like, what? They gave me the black square?
Yeah.
How dare you?
It's your hashtag, though.
If you got like full pirate now, it's the black spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it just seems ridiculous that they would just not ban anything. Like, guys, we've got this anyway. We know what we're going to pick. We're going to pick Disruptor last anyway. They can't do anything about it.
It may not
You've
even.
already said they couldn't have picked anything else.
It just probably didn't matter to them. It's like, you know what? Like, what do we care about? What we ban? No, we don't.
Yeah.
All our attention be focused on what rounds up our lineup. The whole, we just don't care what Team Secret pick, because no matter what they pick as the last one, as Nahar says, you couldn't win. I actually like that 4th block pick of Ember as well. I'm still sitting on it. It's just like, they had to be like, okay, this hurts.
Look, what makes Wings, I think what makes Wings unusual is part of what makes them so strong, and that's that when they're drafting, I really do believe they think more about the style of Dota that they like to play than they think about the particular heroes that they're playing it with. They say, we're going to pick 5 heroes and we're going to run at you. And it is up to you to deal with that. And you can counterpick us all you want. We're still going to play our game. And it is the pressure is completely on the other team to deal with that and to take them out of that playstyle.
Fog, we spoke a little bit earlier on when you were on the panel about the differences coaches can make. And we argued that Wings might come a cropper here in a way because they don't have a coach. They're very gung-ho. Alan's already said they just march in and try and run at you. And for the teams that are playing with the coaches, you'd expect them to be able to counter that better.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. Like, especially Theban. Like, we know he is one of the best coaches. Yeah. Absolutely, you cannot say against that. And it just doesn't seem like maybe they're not clicking, maybe they're not listening to him properly, but there has to be some sort of like something going on between them. Like, I'm not too sure what's happening.
It also depends how heavy the coach gets involved, because if the coach is there and he's just like, okay, you should be playing this way, should be timing that way. Sometimes the coaches don't do that. They're more of a, you know what, I have this concept. Like, that's one of like 1437's greatest attributes, is the fact that he sees the game in a way that a lot of other people do not. And he'll give you that little edge against up against one team, or help you kind of craft something to be stronger for yourself. Like, instead of actually saying like, in-game communication should be this way. Where that was one big thing with Fnatic at the Shanghai Major, where we saw their coach actually impact that a lot. He gave purpose to their movement, to the way they play, and the way they draft.
Yeah, but Theban has one of the best minds in Dota, so maybe maybe it's maybe it is the communication thing, like you
It
were saying.
has
It
to
has to
be.
be something like this because,
You watch these fights, and they're just, I watched probably their game against Virtus Pro from Epicenter where they fed an 0-5 team kill, and then they fed G's Ember Spirit a Rampage like 7 minutes later. I watched that replay like 10 different times just trying to figure out what was their approach, what were they doing during these fights, like how were they trying to move relative to each other to give them a chance to win, and I just couldn't figure out, like, what's the logic behind? I think there are some serious issues in terms of the way they're executing here, which is probably the understatement of the century.
Are you surprised that we're still seeing it? I mean,
I'm shocked.
I know it's only a couple of weeks on from Epicenter, but Puppy's come out in the meantime and said, actually, we know we need to work on the team chemistry. He's joked a little bit about it between Arteezy and EE as well. But he's been very blunt about the fact that he knows they have to work on the chemistry. Is 2 weeks too short a period? Or would you have expected to have seen some improvement here?
It depends how open the players are to also the feedback. Like, you can give them all the feedback they want. If they're just like, no, I'm doing my job right. Like, we don't know what's happening inside that
Puppy.
camp.
I mean, surely they're going to listen to him.
Well, at the same time, Puppy had that same problem with the old Na'Vi. Like, because he basically went to Terra Gravity and said, things will happen my way or they leave the team.
Or the
like, that was actually it. That's exactly what happened. He basically declared martial law. And I don't know if that's really possible or if he really wants to do that with the players he's got because... Like, players like Arteezy, you want to actually give them freedom to do whatever they want because you know...
But he knows that, surely.
Yeah,
he's a smart guy. He knows he's got to give him that freedom.
Yeah, but it's then having, like, 5 free people working perfectly together. And that's very difficult to get. Like, you have to try and build that kind of synergy.
So let's just take a look at them right now. They are over in their tournament room right now, just to try and gauge what we can see from body language. I mean,
they were looking a bit flustered.
Yeah. A little bit, I felt. So... Always difficult to read, actually.
Thebun was in the back room, though. I was like wondering like who Thebun would be talking to. And just sitting there on the back, it's just like, just take one player out, not everyone, and like do that. It's like Puppy's still there, but they're not talking to each other in between the game.
That's really disturbing.
That's really
And look, the entire time that you were saying that, Toby, I was thinking, I think there's something to what you're saying, but at the same time, we've seen this from Puppy before. We have seen last summer, Secret failed to reach top 4 in 4 straight lands, then won 4 straight major events. Before Shanghai, Secret failed to reach top 4 in 4 straight lands, came into Shanghai, won the whole thing. We've seen Puppy turn teams around. We've seen him do it on a very short timetable before. I really expected it was going to happen. I mean, I had them at least top 8 at this event.
I'm not sure everyone had them top 8.
No,
they were quite lowly ranked within both analyst and community.
Yes,
as well.
they were
Even
in my
with the
bottom
community fan favourites, they were still ranked relatively low.
Well, you know what? I voted for them for this match, so they're going to come back. They're going to get 2-1. You know what? They've got the chance still.
But best of luck with that, because if they don't, then they're actually the bottom of their group. Yeah. And there's already like a couple of like a little bit of whispers around the water cooler of like what happens if Secret actually get knocked out in the first round of the lower bracket. If that happens, are they actually going to go through the qualifiers for TI? Do they not get direct invited?
Yeah. I believe in Puppy.
Or do they actually...
It's very easy to believe in Puppy with every single... I think it's every Valve event he's managed to place in the top 8.
Yep.
Every single Valve event. If this is like the first one that he doesn't place there, then something is seriously wrong.
I was going to bring that up. This would be the first... I mean, Puppy has been to all the Valve events, all the TIs, and this would be the first time that he's failed to place top 8. It hasn't happened yet.
Has there actually been any event that he hasn't been invited to?
I do want to urge some caution here, gentlemen, because,
we are getting ahead of ourselves.
This is day
hey,
one,
Navi's back.
This is day Navi is back.
It's true.
But this is day 1. It's a 9-day tournament with a gap in between as well, and no one is eliminated on the first 2 days of the group stages.
That's true.
I know it does make a massive difference to teams like Complexity and potentially now Secret that they will drop into that lower bracket.
It's also into
it's really tough, right?
It's also into a lower bracket. It's a best of 1 the first round too.
But I will give you this. OG Frankfurt.
Bam.
That's all I'm going to say about it, okay?
That's true. But
all I'm going to say about it. It can, and it has happened. We're into the draft for game 2.
They just need to adapt. They really need to adapt.
You're just holding on to optimism.
Oh, come on. They're doing the same thing that they did versus Navi the last game, though. They gave him the Phoenix and
how did that work out?
The Phoenix and the Mirana.
How did that work out?
Damn it, Paul. They gave them the Phoenix and the Mirana the first game, and then the second game they banned it.
You realise, folks, sitting next to me, you're like in Melk territory here, right?
Oh, God,
okay.
no. All right, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take a step back, guys.
You're not just like a lumberjack, don't worry.
It's fine. He didn't bring the paddle.
Oh God, Toby, please.
Okay, so
No,
we see
but-
the bounty. We see the bounty ban this time.
Yes.
No real surprise after that first game.
Yes.
And the life stealer as well.
Yes.
Yeah, those two.
You said the word adapt, right? And clearly, we're going to take away the bounty hunter and the life stealer. We're going to run the wisp, something completely different. But again, I really Tide
But
is
then-
actually the third best hero in this patch according to our
But then
hero
give them
rankings.
Enchantress Tidehunter, which
Yeah.
they didn't want to give them game 1.
No.
So if they just walked into the fact
you-
that Wings wanted those and now they get them,
Smack.
yeah.
You've made Wings early game and rotation so much stronger. You've given Wings team fight a Tidehunter that probably won't get zoned out of that top lane. Like we saw a Blink Dagger early on from the Slaughter. This time around, like Team Secret, what are you going to commit to actually push that Tidehunter off that top lane? Can you even stop him from hitting a normal timing on a level 6? Is Ravage going to come in to your fight so early on for Wings that you can even force into towers? That's... And then Team Secret missed the timing. And like you pick up an IO, what's your combo?
Are you feeling a little
Come on.
worried about your...
No, you know what? It's
Hey,
okay. You can't ban everything. Come on, guys. Give them a break right now. You guys are being so rough.
Hey, you're right. Team Secret's got to win. I said 2-1. Because I actually said a score.
Ooh.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, sure.
You are back in the right horse, though. We were both back in the right horse.
I
Bat
am not
Rider
sure
here?
about this Bat Rider pick at all. It's obviously really good in the hands of Universe, but I think the teams that are good with Bat Rider in this patch are running it both offlane and mid, and it's hard for me to see RTZ running a Bat Rider mid.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless you switch the lanes up a little bit more.
They probably want to change up their entire way that they've been playing, though. Like they haven't
Sure.
picked either of these two heroes, and maybe they want Universe to be playing a true initiator now at this point.
Yeah.
And I like this that they're at least changing it up a bit because obviously they need to because of what's been happening.
Yeah, agreed. I'm wondering too if Wings is thinking about banning out that Clinks up against the Enchantress. It gives finally Eternal Envy some damage which you can rotate with. That can function with the Bat Rider. Obviously, you don't need to combo with the IO all the time. Like IO is just going to be good no matter what situation, just because he's able to buff up whichever core is in trouble.
That's a good call. It's also an Envy hero.
Yeah,
He's been playing that.
I just want to see Envy in a comfort zone. Like that last game with the Juggernaut, it's a comfort hero, but it didn't work in the draft, so he didn't find the zone for his comfort.
I don't think, by that point again, I don't think it mattered.
Yeah, it really didn't. But in this game, like, it just has to be something else. Like, something which can fight, something which is able to, like, rotate and find kills. Like, Clinks, Slark, don't care. Just something which allows Envy to play Envy, a.k.a. get aggressive.
This is completely switching it up, though. Like we haven't seen them play Bat Rider ever with this roster. So
Yeah,
this
really
is,
not
they're
a single
really
game.
they're
Yes.
really changing it up completely from what they've been doing lately. So
That was my.
I like this. At least they're doing something to change their
there's-
approach.
The question there is genius or hope.
Desperation.
Desperation.
Madness.
Well, but this is one of the. That's the thing. That's part of the reason why we expected this team to be so good. This is one of the things that you're supposed to be able to do with a veteran roster. You're supposed to be able to change up your playstyle like this because you have these incredible all-star type players that are good on so many different heroes.
It's what gives you the options.
Right.
That's it. We're running like in mid now.
10 seconds remaining.
We're looking for the all-star player, right? Actually, no, it's the Drow strat.
5 seconds remaining.
It's the Drow strat.
It could be. It's a little weird with
Drow-
the Wisp, but
No. We saw. I think it's actually been Wings that has run Wisp with Drow fairly
Wings,
recently.
yes.
Yeah.
That's true. But like we said, those guys.
Yeah.
guys are
It's
crazy, right?
any
Crazy.
5 heroes run at you, but it's actually not completely crazy, right? If you're timing your pushes extraordinarily effectively.
Final ban phase 2.
Don't know if they wanted. I don't think they really want to ban the Venge. They banned the Oracle for obviously the Bat Rider fusion. He can remove the sticky and of course remove the ulti. But I think banning the Venge might be a little bit of overkill here. So probably looking at what other heroes that Wings really prioritizes versus these type of two, which I think. Okay, so Weaver,
Weaver.
interesting. Okay.
Maybe they feel like they're going to be a little light on lockdown.
Yeah.
Like, if that's a Bat Rider pickup and you do get something like, well, okay, yeah, Droid Badge should be terrible unless you're going to level up Gust a lot.
Guess they want to give Universe, they don't want the Weaver because Weaver is quite good versus Bat Rider in the lane. So I guess they want to really guarantee Universe to try to get at least not completely guarantee, but at least an approach to help him out a bit.
It's setting up for like a Tiny or an Ursa. They're worried about Arteezy and Envy getting kited, right? I think you're going to see Arteezy or Envy. If they go, they could go for something like the Drow strat, or they could go in the other direction and have them on melee DPSers.
I'm still interested, like they actually let something like a Disruptor through. Because normally, like when an IO comes up, you flag 2 support heroes straight away. It's Witch Doctor as well as Disruptor. Like, their team fight for Wings is going to get pretty damn brutal if they also have a pullback on a Batrider or on an IO when they relocate in.
Yeah, but again, again though, this is the tricky thing. The problem I have with Wings, when you just have to change your mentality to evaluate their drafts, because everybody else is trying to like deal with or disrupt the relocate initiation somehow. Wings are fine with that. They're just going to run right into it.
Yeah. Well, they can still disrupt it now. Like you Nightmare one, you Phoenix Grip another. They're both locked in position, and obviously Aya's not going to stun you.
10 seconds remaining.
I really want to see how Team Secret wrap up their last cause.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious ones for at least Envy, I guess, were the Ursa, the Clinks, and the Jug. But Bane is quite good versus
Reserved.
pretty much all 3 of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Does Team Secret then just say, you know what, screw it, like let's just start running a jungler here, like get something else? Because I kind of feel like with an IO as well, they can't be too aggressive in their lane. Like unless you start running like a Wisp Tiny in the mid and you duel it there and you force rotations from Enchantress into that mid lane.
I think the Enchantress from Wings would punish any jungler that you're going to pick Dire Side here so hard.
There's still Phoenix.
Yeah,
But it's not a jungler. It's not a
no,
jungler.
it's not a jungler, but it
Puppy Chen is actually not. It's not. That's not a bad.
it's the only one I think that could battle against an Enchantress. Like you wouldn't want to run an Enigma.
10 seconds remaining.
Actually, he's also not that bad.
A lot of time
5
being used here
seconds
as well.
remaining.
Okay, Ancient Apparition.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess, okay, so they don't want to go. This might be the approach of them not wanting to go for the Clinks, Ursa, Jug, and wanting to have an option to be able to zone the Tidehunter out, because that's one of the old ones that people used to pick. Like, you know, of course, the AA Chilling Touch goes through his Kraken Shell.
This is also, they have in their heads, Wings with Husker is actually beyond terrifying, and they also run Alchemist.
What
so
about-
it's kind of a pre-counter to that.
How about a CK for Secret? I mean, it's a little
It's-
weird, but it's
No,
something-
it's
we've
not.
seen the CKAA and we've seen the Wisp CK. I don't know how much we've seen all 3 together, but
It's dangerous against a Tidehunter though.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. The problem is I'm still on what you said earlier about I thought they were going to try and go a little bit more in the direction of these comfort heroes. And CK is definitely not a comfort
no,
hero.
definitely not.
Yeah, it's not really EE style, is it? But now they need something global because, okay, you had everything to set up while Spectre continues to farm. Then the fight begins. He Spectral Horns, Ancient Apparition, and IO. If this Spectre can get a little bit of tankiness and potentially like Mana Diffusal, like he's going to kill off these supports and then still have time to reality to its secondary target.
Okay.
I'm actually really scared for Team Secret right now that their supports will just not survive. The Batrider won't be able to get initiation because Spectre's going to be right on top of him at the start of the fights. Like, you're almost having to force the issue by Team Secret. The Death Prophet gives you an opening to do that, and the Batrider potentially can give you an opening to do that, but you need to have that straight-up combo. I almost feel like Klinks has to be the last one here. You get a pick, and then you get the advantage, so then you can get an objective straight after
I
it.
just want to thank Wings quickly because that's the first plane of the tournament and the first Spectre of the tournament.
Are you
thinking about your compendium
predictions?
Yeah.
How close?
Just being selfish. That's all right. Just speed them up a little bit more, Wings, please. We're relying on you guys for a bit of wacky stuff, right?
I'm fine for something unique, or at least new.
So now Wings need a mid hero versus the Death Prophet.
Plenty.
And they want to. Yeah, they're gonna. What do they want to ban for Secret? Maybe they might want to ban the Clinks, like you were saying, but there are a couple of options that Secret has. So okay, they ban the Clinks. There we go.
It's just a little too obvious and too easy for him.
I thought that's why they would have picked it up in that second phase.
I'd actually just like to see something. I don't know. He's already out. Like something that's just tanky. So if Team Secret do try and go for it, like they don't find the kill, he's able to weather the storm of the Ancient Apparition, or has some kind of like escape mechanism from like the Death Prophet when Spirit Siphon happens.
I actually really like that call. I think you could even go like a Timber Saw here. You could go like a Brewmaster, just somebody to get in the middle of them.
He was in the back of my mind as well, but then Death Prophet Silence and Lasso has me a little bit scared. But there's no burst damage from Secret, so they're going to trigger as reactive armor. But I don't know if Wings would really have to do that.
Yeah, they have 4 okay, so Sven.
Okay.
That's...
Radiant team.
Well, at least it's a combo with the IO. Yeah, but I'm fairly certain that Wings are going to prioritize controlling up the Team Secret's Ancients and definitely putting some aggressive movement into that dire jungle so they can't just stack and farm. Like, this isn't a no Tidehunter type of game. Like, they can't just stack 5 million camps and expect to farm them. The Wings will be all over it.
Wind Ranger at your service.
Wind Ranger.
Trying to go for a Wind Ranger. Okay, so we've seen the Wind Ranger Enchantress a couple of times. Very quickly as we go down the line, based on draft, who do you feel has a better draft this time round, Alan?
Boy, this is a really hard one to call. I think Secret have a chance to do something in this game. I don't think it's going to be a stomp like the previous game. I'm still leaning toward Wings just because I think they play a style with these 5 heroes that is going to be really difficult to deal with, but I think this is a lot more even. I'm going to go ahead and take Secret and say we'll have game 3.
Okay, very quickly, Toby.
I believe the Swings, their rotations early on are so much better. Their team fight is absolutely superior. They've got great control, and they've got the ability just to be everywhere, and I don't think the supports will last long from Secret.
Talked.
I believe. Let's go Secret.
He's sticking to his guns, and we've got to admire him for that at least. Let's head back to our commentators for game 2.
All right, Secret, 1 game away from being bottom of their group, and Wings, 1 game away from going into the decider. Gods, where are you betting your horse? How quick is Secret gonna lose?
Yeah. It's less like where you betting your horse, and I feel like that's what people are probably talking about now. With Secret have looked pretty bad today. That goes without
They
saying.
really have. They really have. All right, Secret versus Newbie, game number 2. Let's go.
Team Secret versus Wings Gaming. Who will be victorious?
Made
And
it in
Secret-
just in time.
Just like that. They need everything they can to be able to 5-man smoke straight into Blink. Might be able to pick up the first blood, as they should be able to run it down to a little bit of extra damage. And sure enough, there it is. Now the question, wait, there it is. All right, Pilot Eye picks up the first blood. Now the question is whether or not they're going to be able to get anything more, as the fight is still going to go on. Looks like Innocence took a little bit of damage. Secret starting off this game number 2 with a very minor advantage in first blood for themselves. I guess after that game 1, you got to take what you can, Gods.
Yeah, they went for the level 1 smoke through mid lane. I really like that play. We see it very rarely, but when I've seen it, it's always been effective. And find a kill, get down a deep ward, and we'll see what Secret can go from this.
Battle begins.
Rune,
Bottom one.
gonna be challenged.
Nice.
Yeah.
Ice swoops in with a nightmare and says, "Thank you very much, Artur."
And they leave the top rune for the Wind Ranger. So, Wings recovering a little bit after losing that first blood.
Yeah, Universe is in deep, drawing away a creep wave, but Ice doesn't even have mana for a nightmare here, and he loses his clarity. So good play from Universe to cancel that and keep the creep wave coming his way.
Yeah. So this should be a free level 2 for him in that regard. Meanwhile, our 2 supports from Secret in kind of an awkward position. Looks like they're going to wrap around behind the off-lane Tidehunter and see if they can get an early kill. Already managed to get the stun, and the right-click damage is pretty immense here, so they should be able to get this kill. Bian tries to put himself into the side shot, but is just not going to be able to make it out alive. I think he was hoping to be able to get into the trees and go for a healing south play, but not going to happen. Low panel.
Bit of replay of those beautiful gentlemen over there. Yeah. But I think he was kind of in this. I could tell, like, when he's starting items, he saved 500 gold. It was almost like he was trying to evaluate the situation. Can I contest this lane, or do I need to Iron Talon jungle? And he's going to look back and say, okay, probably made the wrong call. Expecting the IO to spend more time at bottom, and Secret, as soon as they see the Tide up there, we're ready to contest.
Shadow, is he actually dead? There's no Nightmare to be able to stop this one. Universe, he's got the kill. He's going to get one more right click, finish him off. He may actually die here as the tower does get a couple of shots on him, and the return kill does go to Ice, but still a big win for Universe in the off lane.
That's canceling that clarity earlier ends up really paying dividends for him, as still Bane has no mana.
He's trying to actually stop the pull, but it's not going to happen, and he's just going to take a lot of damage in return. Keeps on right-clicking the heroes to pull the 2 melee creeps over to him, but one of them's going to get denied, so he just took a lot of damage and only really pulled 1 melee creep worth of experience for that.
This start for Team Secret in game number 2 could not have really gone better, other than Arteezy not getting that level 1 bounty rune. Everything else has just been on point. They killed the Tide when he comes to the offlane. They got the first blood with their smoke. Their offlane Batrider Universe has managed to get a solo kill on the Spectre.
Yes, the good old Satyr Banisher gank. Innocence is going to try and keep Arteezy in one place with that rather insane purge and its 2-second cooldown. Doesn't look like it's going to work, though. The Satyr Tormentor showing itself. Arteezy's just sitting really far back as the creep wave does get into the tower. He's going to try and pull it off, and that is where the Enchantress is going to be wrapping around behind the Tier 1 tower now, just trying to get in range. Does manage to get the Purge, but still, our Wind Ranger is a little distance away. He does manage to start Soul Siphoning up, and it looks like he's going to be able to survive off of that, and Innocence is going to go down in return. Not really valuing that Spirit Siphon enough, not respecting it, and Arteezy is able to pick up the turnaround.
Secret just ready for that aggression mid lane. Pi even TPing in with the overcharge, giving that extra survivability. So Wings, it's one of those things where we haven't really seen like what happens when they get contested in the early game. And here it's a bad early game start, and they're just trying to force the issue
Universe
too
at
much.
it again. He gets the Nightmare just in time. Ice will be able to get himself out from underneath that flame, but still, Universe is destroying this 1v2.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of dive on the mid lane is very overzealous. Like, you're not realistically going to, even without the TP in from Io, I think they're unlikely to get the kill just because he had 2 Spirit Siphons. He can throw one on the Wind Ranger, one on the Enchantress, and it was a very low percentage play to be making for Wings, and something where they struggle a bit in the first couple of minutes, and they just need to kind of slow things down and wait and kind of transition into the mid game without giving away these kind of kills.
Yeah, it's kind of like game number 1, right? It's just you can have this static laning phase for Wings, and if you want to be able to be aggressive, you can be aggressive around the 10-minute marker, but no need to be diving in so early before then, as these early kills may actually allow Secret to be able to hold on during the time when Wings are going to be looking for those kills, right? I mean, you're going to start being aggressive with your Enchantress, Wind Ranger around the 10 to 12-minute mark, right? Try to set up the Spectre for kills, but if they feed away too much in this laning phase, they may actually not be able to get those kills they're searching for.
Yeah, they are at least managing to get Tide what he needs in the offlane now with the supports rotating towards mid, so it has kind of opened up some space across the map, but realistically they want to get something more done with this Enchantress.
They've got the sleep, and they've got a Centaur coming in. They may be able to get this kill. Pylai die. There's the reveal. He's going to try and go for a lasso out, but the burst damage may be too much. Gets the tether away. Last couple of right clicks are going to be enough.
Is under attack.
So Innocence is the one to pick up the kill. They're quickly wrapping around behind the Tier 1 tower, see if they can put some pressure on Universe immediately after that one, as the creep wave is coming in, but Universe plays it safe.
I think the big thing where they need to pressure early on is because you're versing a Sven who already has Helm the Dominator, so you don't want to play, you need to make sure your mid game goes well, because otherwise the Sven will just do that power farm thing where you're stacking Ancient, stacking your jungle, and getting out of control, almost like to Alchemist levels of farm. So already there's aggressive wards up near the Ancient stack. Puppey's going to immediately deward it though, and this is very important strategically for Secret to deny any vision of this Ancient's area where Envy's going to be looking to stack.
Yeah. That is one of the critical ways for Sven to be able to get far ahead of the enemy carry. It's usually one of those heroes that needs to be able to operate with like a 5,000 gold advantage, I would say, most of the time, and that comes from Ancient stacking. Wings can actually deny that. They'll be okay, but doesn't look like Secret to give them the opportunity. They're actually going to go for Bian here. Managed to get the stun, the follow-up Spirit Siphon. Can't actually cleanse that one off, so they are going to be able to just run him down underneath that Tier 1 tower and probably turn it into a Tier 1 kill as well.
I think clever rotations from Arteezy, a hero you don't normally expect to be rotating into gank you, but just a Spirit Siphon all you need. They've even got the Exorcism, which they can commit with the God Strength to guarantee a Tier 1 tower. Any towers you take means you're going to have more of the map open to farm, and that just power farming Sven play gets that much more viable.
Wind Ranger trying to use the illusion to bait something out from Secret. Obviously not going to be the case here. Eternal Envy. Now the Spectral Ultimate goes down. They manage to get the Nightmare, but they're not actually controlling any of these heroes very well. He's going for Pylai Die in the background, but he's grabbed very rapidly underneath the Tier 1. And just like that, the Wings rotation is completely defeated. That's a Spectre, the first Spectre Ultimate, plus a full rotation out from Wings to the top lane. This buys Secret a lot of space in middle as well as bottom.
5-man swing. They're going to go, I don't even know if they can for sure get this tower, and even if they do, this is not a very meaningful tower for Team Secret. They really want, they can just fall back and leave this, but I think they've actually got the tools to defend now as well. Spectre doesn't even have mana for a dagger right now, so.
Yeah, sure enough. TP in from Universe is all it takes, and Universe, his farm isn't even slowed down at all. Obviously, he did a fantastic job at the bottom lane, and he's only another like 600 gold away from being able to get that Blink Dagger. He can just farm the Dire jungle now to finish that off.
Scan scouts out the retreat right at the end of the duration there, so just on-point play coming out from Secret. They know that Wings have now backed off from this top lane to go and farm. It gives Envy the kind of freedom to continue farming this lane. He's got stacks which were taken initially by the Batrider, so there was like a quad stack over in his jungle, but he's got stacks now at the Ancients, which will be all his, so Wings need to put themselves in a position where they can really fight around the Ravage plus Haunt. They need to be very careful about how they use those ultimates, because as soon as they're on cooldown, that's where Secret can take objectives. You've got the Sven who can either farm his Ancient stacks, the DP you can push towers with, so Wings have to make sure they capitalize when they go for the Spectre Haunt.
And Vizrune picked up for RTZ, but Blink is already putting some pressure on the tier 1. Looks like we hear the sounds of God's strength. Sven is going to clear through the off-lane camp and maybe rotate over to the Ancients. That is a mediocre stat. Still may be enough. How do you think you continue to play this one as Eternal Envy? Get that fast Blink dagger?
I'm not sold on the Blink. Either I may as well upgrade your boots to treads, but the Echo Saber has become quite popular on the hero, and even still the SMY build, but I think the Echo Saber is perhaps the preferred damage-dealing build for this hero.
I think being able to play this Fen as the kind of Echo Saber and as you said, like SMY, that kind of like very stat-heavy build is the way to go. Arteezy uses Invis to be able to scout out Ice inside the Roshan pit, and he will be taken out. So they save the stack, keep Eternal Envy healthy, happy, and farming away. Getting that pick off Wings, no real response from them.
Yeah. The big issue with the lane stage going poorly, with like the Tide giving up kills, the Spectre even dying to bat, is that they haven't set themselves up to slow down the Sven whatsoever. The stacks have already been farmed up once. You've got to imagine Envy's going to continue to stack that, look to farm it up multiple times. And at what stage are Wings really ready to fight it? They've got their ultimates, so if they really want to commit all these big teamfight ultimates, they have a chance to, but they're being out-farmed. They're going to have a level 6 Puppy Ancient Apparition soon, so then they're going to be fighting into the Ice Blast as well, and Secret have all the tools to fight around that Ancients area with the Universe Blink, more importantly.
There is no laning wards, so Wings' rotation from Ice and Blink might be able to catch out the duo of Wisp and Sven, but if they fail this gank, they may be punished by TP rotations from Secret, or even just a free escape from, say, a relocate out from the Wisp that will still, in the end, punish Wings for their inefficiency. Doesn't look like there's going to be an opening that they feel comfortable with.
And Universe just going to go back to farming, and this is where you have your Blink Dagger. Wings are going to be playing somewhat scared. The first smoke with the Blink didn't work, but you can fall back, farm up the Force Staff a bit, slow things down if you're Secret, recognizing that Envy is going to continue to power farm. Has picked up a Helm, so it looks like we'll see the Armlet build out of him. Armlet, even better when you've got the IO to kind of basically counteract the HP loss when you activate the Armlet and keep you alive, so it is the most cost-effective damage item really to pick up on a Sven.
Wings wasting a lot of time, and maybe it's them that is now the team that is a bit too easy to read with their rotations across the map. Secret seem to have their number here in Game 2 for the first 11 minutes or so. You can see our Spectre playing really far back right now, the bottom lane, afraid of being potentially ganked as the rest of his team is searching for that kill opportunity. They're going to go ahead and pop that smoke on the Tier 1 tower, quickly take it down with Focus Fire. And that is the end of Wings' rotation. And bottom lane.
Yeah, it's a strong setup because you've got Arteezy pushing with the Blink Batrider sitting behind him, and there's always the threat of a relocator.
Now the Spectre forced to pop the ultimate as Universe actually scouts him out, jumps over to Arteezy, slows him down with the dagger. The rest of Wings is coming in, but the Exorcism is still out. Universe actually going to jump in. The Ravage goes down. Maybe they can actually pop Universe real quickly and still fight Arteezy, or maybe not. Here comes the relocate. Goes for Innocence. He's going to be the first one down for the Sven as they are able to finish him up with Cleave. Now Shadow tries to get away, but he's cleaned up Arteezy's nukes. Double kill for him. And Secret well on their way to be able to take a Tier 1 tower at that bottom lane. First really good punishment there from Secret in a team fight.
It's so hard to engage into this incredibly tanky Death Prophet with the treads double null. You're looking at just, when he's on strength treads, something like 1200 HP. And you get a decent Ravage initiation, but the follow-up damage is just not really there. It's just the power shot that gives you a bit of extra burst damage, but other than the Batrider, they can only kill one of the two targets, and the Death Prophet, they probably can't even kill in that situation, so...
Highlight Eye, caught in the river, is going to go down.
Okay.
It seems like, I mean, throwing the Ravage, anytime you have to use Ravage and it's not catching the Sven and Wisp, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for Secret just to be able to punish you, right? There's just no follow-up damage. They had to, like, instantly kill both of those heroes to even have a chance at responding to Wisp Sven when they lacked that big AoE disable.
And it was a really good relocation position because they were right on top of the Enchantress, who was going to be one of those key follow-up damage heroes for the side of Wings. And
Yeah.
You're not expecting your Spectre to really do a whole lot of damage in that situation, but the Enchantress at the backlines on these Ravage or Fiend Script heroes is going to be a big problem. So Secret immediately make their next move. Farm up some Ancients here while invading the enemy jungle. And they've got, again, relocate already back up. They're ready to back up this trio with the Sven if needed.
Means Universe can pretty much fearlessly look for some of these kills. They're going to throw the scan out near the hard camp, hoping to be able to find somebody farming that one up. Shadow, though, now going to show himself in the mid lane. Secret just unfortunately a bit too fast to see that opportunity. Their smoke has now run out, and they may not be able to get that pick.
Blink Armlet on Envy. He is ready to fight, and he now acts as like an instant follow-up to the Bat Rider's initiation. Does need to be careful about how he uses this with the tether relocates in, but it's Wings who are forced to kind of 5-man around the map. Ravages come back up, so they just want to make sure they're sticking together at all costs.
Structures are fortified.
Tier 2 being chipped away. Eternal Envy.
Here comes the Ice Blast,
Jump
though.
soon. They can get the Ice Blast onto 3. Oh, that's going to be a big one. Now the jump in. They get the lasso pull back onto BN. Now the Spectre pops the ultimate. Secret actually playing this really defensively despite that great initiation, forcing out the Ravage. Eternal Envy is going to be clipped by it, but that is all. And Wings still pushing forward like they want to be able to fight this one. They've got the Fiend's grip onto Eternal Envy. The relocate back, though, is going to be able to save him. The Shackle Shot doesn't actually latch, and Wings can't actually take this one. Not anymore. Now Eternal Envy's got the God Strength. He's going to be slept up. Wings, I think you got to count your lucky stars that you're going to get out of that fight alive.
Very scrappy fight from both sides. Ultimately, no casualties. Both teams losing their Tier 2 tower. It really looked like that Ice Blast was... Envy could have blinked in, Storm Bolted 2 and started fighting, but his team weren't really in position to back him up. And
Yeah,
even...
Did you see our TZ's TP? What happened there? Did
I
he
did not.
cancel somewhere?
Must have cancelled accidentally.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Because that was definitely the reason that Wings felt okay at pushing forward. But I'm agree with you. Even 4 versus 5, that seemed like almost a fight that Secret could have won.
A guaranteed 2-hero Storm Bolt on squishy heroes, the Wind Ranger and Enchantress, but you're blinking into the Fiend Script, and your team doesn't have the easiest way to cancel the Fiend Script when Flame Break costs a lot of mana. Universe actually ran into mana problems after that lasso, and it looked like that they kind of didn't. They went for the front lines rather than the 2 squishies on the back line who did get hit by the Ice Blast. But at least a neutral trade for Wings, which at this stage is when you're kind of playing from behind, you'll take those even exchanges.
Yeah. And they've got some... they would have some decent control of the Dire jungle at that point in time, but you've got some really good defensive wards by Secret. They want to be able to protect that, as that is going to be one of Eternal Envy's main sources of farm, bouncing between top lane, jungle, and then going over to the Ancients. Universe is going to try and set up a relocate gank onto Shadow. But Shadow backs up at just the right time.
And this is kind of what led to some of Secret's downfall in the earlier games today against Na'Vi. They just went for too much of this kind of solo gank play where they're not getting their cores involved in. They're still showing here, like, despite Secret being ahead, I'm not like convinced by their team play. That fight at top was kind of all over the place. And this game as well, we're seeing Universe kind of go for these solo pickoffs where I think he should be kind of spending more time with Arteezy, with the team, taking objectives.
Highlight Dime, off the dagger, Ice. Oh, actually just straight up comes forward, man, to get the Fiend's grip, but now the silence. The combo, Ravage actually goes down, but all of Wings are so damn low, they're not going to be able to follow this one up real well unless Arteezy actually goes down. The focus fire is going to be able to finish him off. Ice gets taken up by Eternal Envy, but he needs the protection of Highlight Dime. What? Blink? Hello? Face checks the warps, and now they actually might be able to have enough to be able to go forward. Ice Blast onto Shadow, but Eternal Envy couldn't get the right click. Universe jumps forward, catches Innocence, and they will be able to get a 4th kill. Not Spectre, but instead the Enchantress.
both teams not really showing their A game here. Wings in game number 2. Misplays like that from Wind Ranger, just chasing unnecessarily and just dying to the spirits of the IO. An unnecessary chase. They'd had at least an okay fight up until that point, trading the Death Prophet for the Bane and the Tide, at least like a core for your off lane plus a support. It wasn't too bad, and then they give away 2 more, so Wings not really looking like themselves here.
Certainly not.
Secret, though, at least in a position to succeed, and this has very much come from, like, when they can get away with this kind of greed with a hero like Sven, that's great for them, and I feel like they may fall back on playing Order Sven in this tournament, playing heroes like Alchemist, because they may just be more comfortable in these games where they can outfarm their opponents.
Yeah. And that really does seem to be the case, as sure enough, that 5,000 gold lead for the Sven over the Spectre is already here at 18 minutes. That's very likely to grow even worse over time. Shadow did pick up an Invis rune at the top lane. Not that he's really going to be able to do a whole lot with this. Scouts out Arteezy, and that's really all. None of his team rotating over. Try and go for some sort of weird gank. Instead, Wings, I think they really just got to focus on getting some farm and letting Secret come to them in the next 5 minutes or so, because I'm not sure if these team fights are really going to change unless they start getting some bigger items. But they disagree. They're going to go for the 4-man smoke.
I'm kind of totally in agreement with you. If they find a straight-up 5v5 team fight into Exorcism and God Strength, I think they get crushed. So they need to try and isolate the IO +1, because often Secret's setup is going to have 3 heroes somewhere on the map with the IO backing up the carry Sven.
Oh, Sven actually blinking forward straight into Bien. They will be able to get a really good Fiend's Grip. Pylon Die in the background has to go for the relocate out and will be able to save Eternal Envy.
Importantly, there was no Ravage to catch Pylai Die on the relocate in. If they had Ravage, it was up in 2 seconds. They could have won that fight. Yeah. They do have it now, though, so this gets very risky for Secret, who may be forced to, who may try and re-engage.
With God Strength down, no relocate, Ravage still up, even if Fiend's Grip is not. And Pylai Die might have actually just put himself too far forward. Oh! The combination of nukes. They just left that open a little bit longer. Maybe Bien could have gotten an anchor smash or something. That would have been enough to finish him off, but
he's deep by himself here, but
he got some sort of escape. He really doesn't.
He's got teammates coming fast, though.
Will be okay, and Secret actually may be able to pick up a really early Roshan. Yeah, sure.
They expect the top, they know Horn's down, and this is it's still an okay phase of the game for Wings. They're not losing fights, they're building towards the Radiant, so they're effectively fighting without 4,000 of their net worth, with the Spectre just picking up the Relic now, so they're very much at that stage of the game where, if anything, Wings just want to try and get a pick-off or 2, or have a slight, or trade evenly in a team fight when they've got their ultimates, and then back off and farm. They trade evenly by just not losing anyone, and Secret transition into a Roshan/Aegis, but they need to get more than that if they want to really put Wings down here in game number 2.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting. We're going to get to see a different side of Secret in this tournament, a Secret that's actually ahead, and how they're going to be able to perform with that kind of lead. Because as you said, like, this is a team that does prefer to be able to have more of a farmy, like, late game oriented style, and they've already managed to do well in the first 20 minutes. They should be able to build this up even further, barring any major mistakes. And we'll see whether or not those mistakes do come. Puppey is going to be caught out trying to do the counter warding. It looks like maybe just a free one-off. The relocate also going to be coming down onto Bien. He does have the Ravage if he wants to blow to be able to save himself, and he does so. They did get the Ancient Apparition, and Bien will be able to escape. But it looks like they're just going to try and go for the kill onto Pylai Die. He did bring the Sven back, so never mind. Down to bottom lane, so now that he's gone, they're actually going to go for our tour. Managed to get the sleep onto him. Dagger will wake him back up, but they managed to get the Hellfire Smash as well there. Arteezy turns around for the silence, actually now going for the Spirit Timing with Universe jumping in. The ultimate goes out from the Spectre, but it doesn't really seem to be enough. Arteezy, there's just not enough damage to be able to focus him down, and Isin starts throwing out those shots, but now Eternal Envy is here. He's going to go straight for Blink, forcing that win run out of him, while Arteezy's right in the middle of 2 different heroes, should be able to take out both rather easily. Eternal Envy's going to be the focus of this Focus Fire, and he's actually dropping pretty damn fast. The Ice Blast coming in, not going to be able to land, but Arteezy still looking for the chase. Innocence being slowed down. Looks like Universe should be able to get in front of him with the Bat Rider. And a 1-for-3 exchange there, clearly to the favor of Secret.
it's still like, it doesn't feel awful for Wings. Like trading 1 for 3 when they kill the Sven of all heroes.
Yeah.
They're buying time against the Aegis. Yeah, it's Secret who come out on top of that one, but it's not like, okay, they're really starting to snowball. I still don't feel like they've done enough to completely keep Wings out of this game. The Radiance timing is at least going to be decent for Wings. The win range has stayed alive. Like, that Sven kill gave them a lot of money. You're looking at 660 gold just for the kill itself, and
Yeah, the stats actually agreed with you. They were slightly ahead in gold from that exchange.
with a 1 for 3.
Yeah, but with a 1 for 3.
And before that, they'd killed the AA. So, yeah, it was kind of a separate fight, but at least Wings, for the most part, are holding their own here in the mid-game, despite their gold deficit, despite the fact Spectre didn't have a Radiance until now.
Yeah. 7-16, the Radiance is now up for the Spectre, and that can change a lot for Wings. They're going to have... there is still the problem for Secret that they are operating on 2 different supports that are very easily focused down by a Spectre, Ancient Apparition, as well as, in some cases, Wisp, as neither one of them has a whole lot of defensive mechanisms, not really a reliable escape nor disable against the Spectre. And Bat Rider is also going to have some issues now that the Radiance is up.
This just feels like all it's going to take is one bad team fight where Wings get off an amazing Ravage into Shackle. They get the grip onto the Sven, and suddenly the game's going to be dead even, and momentum's going to be going Wings' way. So Secret, I think they can kind of tell. Like, they're one bad team fight against the Spectre Radiance away from just perhaps being 2-0'd.
Yeah.
And even though they're ahead right now, it can so quickly change versing a Spectre draft.
Do you get the feeling that, while you can say they're playing conservatively, it also feels like a little bit scared that Secret are just kind of like, oh man, guys, we're finally up in a game, and we can't afford to throw this away.
They don't seem to have any confidence whatsoever. They also, you can see small little misplays here and there. The initiation of the top tier 2 tower. Envy kind of going in, even just that recent fight, I don't feel like Envy exactly just played his hero all that well. He put himself in a position where he was the one who didn't have the Aegis. Aegis was on the Death Prophet. Arteezy getting caught out by 3 heroes wasn't an issue because he had the backup. And then Envy blinks in to try and fight without Exorcism behind him, and he just dies. So things like that, I just feel like Secret aren't all on the same page, but more than anything, yeah, just they're kind of playing scared / without confidence.
The sleep at bottom lane on the Death Prophet did actually force 2 rotations from Secret, and they might be able to catch, they're going to be able to catch Ice Ice. So they're going to pull him back in for Arteezy to be able to munch on, and Universe will be the one to pick up the kill.
They're committing to the high ground. They're going to force Wings to respond.
This is smart. He still has the Aegis, as well as 16 Bloodstone charges. Arteezy very happily challenged this tier 3 nice and early. They still have the relocate play ready to go, waiting until after BN.
Oh, but he's lost Aegis,
his Ravage, but
not sure they can fully commit to a Raxia. I think if you're Wings, you're okay losing a tier 3 tower here. You don't want to force a really bad fight.
Now the Exorcism is going to run out, and Arteezy will be healed up. So Secret, go ahead and call it a day. Back out. Take it to tier 3 and not risking anything else.
Yeah. Again, Secret playing at a very safe pace here. They are going to continue to kind of extend their lead. They're out farming their opponents for the most part. They're putting themselves in a position to just secure the next Roshan. Envy can farm up a BKB, which will solve a lot of his problems as far as fighting into Ravage, Shackle Shot, Radiance on the Spectre. Negate a lot of the damage up, but it means that it's just the Fiend script to worry about. But
nice scan there from the Dire. Will be able to catch Wings as they smoked up and running through the river. They even draw the exact path that Wings is going to be heading into. They cut across into the Dire jungle. And Secret looks like they're going to be grouping up on the top side and might be able to catch something here. The Radiant now using their scan in the mid. I think they were hoping that that little bit of red meant that somebody was coming out of middle and into the lanes, but rather quite the opposite.
yeah, Envy kind of trying to bait here, knowing he has the relocate to back him up, but not going to see much come from this. And now the wards will scout out Wings' exact position in the jungle. So Secret likely to try and take a team fight again pretty soon. They've got another Exorcism. They are in good fighting shape with the Shiver's Guard up soon on Arteezy. Got a lot of farm ready to go. It's just really Envy's Sven who's maybe missing that next big item.
What is this farm at? 3,600? What do you think?
I think it really has to be the BKB, or at least that to me makes the most sense.
So once he has that BKB, that's kind of like a serious peak for Secret at that point in time, where they could rather easily go high ground if they wanted to.
Item you often don't want to get too early on in the game, but I think we're hitting that point where Secret with the next Aegis will be able to go for a lane of Rax, and that's where you want to have BKB against the Ravage.
Right.
So I think he's made the right call not going for the BKB earlier on in his item build, but we're there now. 4K gold. Envy, what's it going to be? And Wings themselves just grouped up around mid. They want to stick as 5 for the most part. Maybe they go as 4 and have the Haunt to back them up, but...
You call it BKB, and Shiva's ready to go. We'll see what Secret do from here. Wings are still the ones actually pushing forward, though. They've got the focus fire on the tier 2 tower, chipping away at it. I'm sure Secret not going to let this one go. Do start mounting their response with Universe. That means a quick blink back from Wings on the retreat.
And this is still a fairly squishy Spectre, so in these fights, if Sven gets on top of Spectre with a Stormbolt in God Strength form with BKB, Spectre will melt very quickly.
Yeah, this definitely seems like a game where Shadow's going to have to play much more of a guerrilla-style hit and run.
Dream scenario is he finds the IO in the back lines, kills him off to start things.
Yeah. Then tries to clean up heroes like Ancient Apparition, even Batrider, and kiting the 2 other cores, because those 2 others seem to be too tanky to actually force down even Arteezy. That many Bloodstone charges and that much armor now, thanks to the Shivas as well as the Veil. It's going to be tough to rip through with physical damage at least. Blink Dagger now up for the Tidehunter. There is still the opportunity for that kind of dream game-changing initiation from him, but that seems to be the only way right now for Wings to be able to win a fight. They're going to be able to jump here in the top lane, go for Eternal Envy, actually pops the BKB. Ravage goes down trying to stop that relocate, but the relocate still actually goes down. Eternal Envy is going to be Fiends grifted up. Miscommunication from Secret, but Eternal Envy maybe just farmed enough to be able to do okay here. He gets at least the tide before he ends up dying. Now Pylai Die is going to be brought right back. What was that, Gods? A relocate save was there, but he pops the BKB.
Yeah, he couldn't tether him. And also, like, it looked like Io was actually going to die before the relocate, because Spectre did a really good job of finding, and he gets vision of the Io, and he actually jumps on the Io over the Sven just to try and go for that kill. But like you say, you don't pop your BKB there if you're a Sven. You're up against a Bane. You're not going to be able to BKB your way out of that situation. You don't even have a TP, so the BKB definitely not the play. And Envy gives away a big kill to the side of Wings. That's the kind of, it's not the big team fight loss, but it's a pretty big kill for Shadow, who now completes a full Manta style off of it. Wind Ranger completes a full Aghanim Scepter off of it. That's 2 big item pickups on the main core heroes of Wings off of just one small little skirmish.
And the thing is, Eternal Envy is not going to be the one feeling the pain of a Manta style from Spectre. It's going to be those poor supports who all of a sudden used to have 1 Spectre that instantly jumps. Now there's going to be 3 Spectres surrounding that poor little Pylai Die Wisp and beating him into the ground nice and quick. They have the Ags and the Wind Rangers, so better focus fire on the way to be able to maybe finally deal with heroes like Death Prophet in a fight, but we'll have to see, as that fight is yet to come. Secret are going to be going for Roshan next, and I don't think Wings can actually stop it with 50 seconds left on the Ravage.
The other big problem with what that sequence of events up top is Envy already down to a 9-second BKB. This is one of those games where the BKB duration makes a big difference because of the way the late game is going to play out, where you've got a lot of these kind of spammable disables like Shackle Shot, things like Gush, which is just a pesky slow. It's going to be really tough for Envy, even fighting into Nightmare in the late game. If he's got a 5-second BKB, he really needs to rely on that long duration one, which is why he picks it up so late in his item build, because he was trying to wait and time the BKB pickup such that they're going to be ready to end the game. So dying and using your 10-second BKB, a big loss for Secret.
Well, Secret with a fresh Aegis may have plucked the courage to be able to go high ground again. Again, there's still that missing tier 3 at bottom lane, so if they ever do find the opening, it's going to be a really fast lane of Rax for Secret. But Wings are still doing a great job. They're pushing out the waves constantly. Now that we have a Manta style, obviously this means even more opportunities to keep the lanes forward, and Secret off Kilter unable to go for the simple 5-man.
The push I just don't think is that easy because Spectre can almost always kill this IO. I think Puppey has to keep an eye. Puppey's got the Glimmer Cape, but I think more than using on himself, he needs to use it on Pylai Die when the Horn comes out. Keeping the IO alive much more important than his own life.
Run around the Ancient Apparition Gem. And that will actually help out quite a bit in being able to stop Wings from feeling comfortable in split pushing, because no matter what, there is still a Blink Dagger Sven with a relocate. So even just an Ancient Apparition Ice Blast may be enough to set up a relocate kill. So they do have to be careful when trying to split push and buy themselves time. May end up being punished if Secret can find the opening. But in the meantime, Arteezy, 3,500 gold. He's got his next item coming in soon, I guess.
Yeah, I think the big thing to be able to defend the Aegis push is just going to be having buybacks on some of these key fighting heroes, the Wind Ranger and the Spectre. Wind Ranger a little bit short, so perhaps trying to farm it at this top lane before the push comes, but Arteezy's ready to force this one.
Gush, as well as Dagger, already being used. I almost feel like this is a near impossible scenario for Wings to be able to save this lane of Rax. Gonna pop the cliff, get the sleep, now the jump in. Universe is gonna be able to catch Innocence. The ultimate is popped, and they get a really good Fiend's Grip onto Eternal Envy with the BKB activated. They can't actually do anything to be able to save, and the relocate may actually come out now as Pylai Die makes a tether in, but it's just under Arteezy, buffing him up as much as possible. Eternal Envy may have dropped a little low, but it's Arteezy who's become the main carry now as he challenges the rest of Wings as a full 5-man with the Aegis now still intact. Good Shackle Shot, gonna be able to buy some time. Good Ravage as they manage to get Universe in the background as well, finishing him off with a sleep and a couple of right clicks while Arteezy still becomes the main focus. Shadow is already cleaned up. Pylai Die Wisp and will be able to make sure there's no escape for Arteezy in life number 2. So that's why he just full out commits suicide, and that means more items for the Spectre. Diffusal Blade picked up by him.
Yeah, they lose Rax, and importantly, yeah, Secret get their first lane. It's far from game over off of that, but it was a much needed lane of Rax given that it was the second Roshan, and Wings were starting to claw their way back into the game with the Spectre Radiance, with the Wind Ranger Aghanim Scepter, so big ultimate's going cooldown, so Secret could look to fight on respawn, but more likely than not, they're going to be a little bit cautious in doing so because they've lost that Aegis.
Yeah, they can't afford to lose a fight on their side of the base.
And it was
that's for sure.
Pylai Die having a Glimmer Cape of his own in that fight, making a big difference, and also go for a really good tether. Spectre haunted on top of the IO, but then he tethered a really long distance to get away from the Spectre who was attacking him. So he tethered into the enemy base. He eventually dies, but he kind of wasted a good 5 seconds of Shadow's time.
Yeah.
Where he could have been going for the AA or the Batrider as well to follow up that initial kill on IO.
More split pushing from Shadow as he's attempting to use the Manta to do so. Other than that, Secret, you think they wait on the next stages before trying to go to the tier 2s at mid or top?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the play is just going to be wait next Roshan, get Aegis and Cheese, and then go for another lane of Rax. Kind of as we saw where it's almost a bit of brute force where you're like, okay, we've got enough building damage with the God Strength and the Exorcism, as well as enough sustainability with the IO, who has a relocate save, the Aegis, the Cheese, that even if we commit too hard and lose a couple lives, we're going to get a Rax here, or at least a tier 3 tower perhaps. So bit by bit they can brute force their way through the Wings base.
Secret knowing that there is no Ravage for at least another 30 seconds, they are going to go for a smoke, an attempted pick onto the Tidehunter. Not going to be able to get in, but they will be able to get Ice instead. Pulling him back in, that's a free kill for sure. As he tries to go for the deny on himself in the Nightmare, but no possibility. And now with that, they may actually be able to still go high ground. Still waiting on that Ravage. No Bane for 45 seconds. Jump forward, Shackle Shot, not actually the latch, and a really great silence is the return from Arteezy. They're not even worrying about heroes at this point in time. They take the building, melee Rax down, and now try and get out of here. Good move away just in time by the Sven, trying to get some distance. Shadow, he's going to go for the jump forward, though. Managed to get Pylai Die. What else can they get? Arteezy managed to run himself back while Puppey TP's away. Eternal Envy would be a great kill, but unfortunately the power shot not on point, and Eternal Envy blinks himself away. They're still going to try and catch him, it looks like. If they can get close enough for a dagger, and maybe a Shackle Shot, but it doesn't latch to anything. Force Staff comes out. Dagger is going to slow down Eternal Envy even further. They follow the dagger. Where it's going, Eternal Envy gets the blink out, though. And I think that spells the end. Wings were desperate for some kills after losing their second melee Rax, but all they got was a wisp of that.
That was just such well-calculated aggression from Secret. And that's the first time where I feel like they were playing with confidence. Up until that point in the game, it's always like, okay, let's wait till we have an Aegis. Let's play things really cautiously. But this time they're like, no, we know the exact cooldown on Ravage. We've got 10 seconds before it's up. Let's get something done.
Yeah, and they're going to get a little bit more done as just vision is all that's needed to be able to catch Innocence in the relocate game. And just like that, Secret are in a great position. They can control the middle lane. Bottom lane's going to be pushing himself out constantly. They can get an Aegis for themselves and end the game. And Wings, they have been gaining a little bit of gold every single time these pushes come out. We've seen, you know, the bottom lane push was actually where Spectre got a decent amount of kills in there, but it hasn't seemed to be enough to get that Spectre back in the driving seat of this game, and hasn't allowed Wings to be the aggressors, right? The one who determines when the fight actually starts.
Yeah, this long Ravage cooldown has really been Wings' undoing. Anytime they haven't had it, they can't really fight. Best case scenario if they've got Horn is they kill an IO, maybe an AA, but they're never really able to control the Sven and have that team fight threat against Team Secret when they haven't had Ravage. And as kind of this game develops, we'll see even more BKBs picked up. Universe has recently got one for himself. He's now got a 10-second. Highlight Die on the IO may even be able to farm up a BKB if things continue to drag. And I think Wings, even if this goes even later without them losing any further buildings in their base, they're still going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, they're going to be hard-pressed to actually stop Secret, especially given the amount of map control they have. They'll still be able to hold themselves a larger and larger net worth lead over time, unless Wings can find some sort of openings. 2,500 gold on our Tide, still a ways away from that next item, whatever it may be. And I'd like to see a Shiva's sometime on this team.
Yeah, Shiva's give you even more damage reduction against the Sven.
And they really need to be able to find ways to kite him. Bien is going to run into Eternal Envy, blink out.
I think Wings recognize if they give up another Roshan, they may just lose this game.
Yeah, Eternal Envy. That was actually a lot of damage, but immediately the Glimmer Cape comes out from Puppey.
Yeah, a lot of what Wings have to try and do is try and force a preemptive BKB out of Sven and then kite away from him, or force out a preemptive relocate in a situation like that. So they're not really fully committing to a fight there, just trying to see how Secret respond when they jump in. This Roche pit, Centaur on Wild Wing. Mercy.
Poor Wild Wing. Doesn't even stand a chance. Its owner is not giving it a fighting chance. Come on now. Come on now. That's just cruel. Forcing it to stand there, take the punishment. Eternal Envy found an opening, he managed to get the Bane, and now with the BKBs popped, there's nothing Bien can actually do. The Ravage ready to go, but he's trying to wait out the timers. It's just not going to be good enough. Shadow has to full out retreat. There is the buyback on the Tidehunters, so Secret may not be able to push high ground unless they can actually get more. They have found it. Shadow is going to be corralled by Universe back into the team. And now Wings, if they hope to be able to defend, whether it's Roshan or potentially even high ground, I guess there's still the tier 2 that they have up the top lane, and Roshan is not up for another 47 seconds. Wings are actually really lucky in that regard.
Yeah. They're not going to be forced to buy back or anything, but no Roche loss. But as soon as that Roche is back up, Secret are going to be heading into it, and it's at least a reasonably long time until the next Exorcism comes online with the 70 seconds further on cooldown. Something that Wings are going to be very wary of. They will have Spectre back alive, but the problem is the Spectre Haunt cooldown matches that Exorcism. So by the time they have another Haunt, there will be an Exorcism on the side of Team Secret.
Daedalus, Sven. Oh dear. Somebody is going to get smoked. That is going to be a one-shot opportunity.
Yeah,
one of these supports.
Even without this item, that last fight, Bane got 3-shotted, and that's one of the big problem here is for someone like Sven. Envy, he can catch the Bane at the start of the fight, quickly burst him down before any kind of response is possible, and there is no response available if you get the stun on the Bane, because none of Wings' teammates can actually save him in that scenario. They haven't got any... The Force Staff is on the Bane. The BKB piercing disable is on the Bane, so they're all in on this Bane to deal with the Sven BKB.
Beating into Roshan. Big man doesn't stand a chance against Eternal Envy. Full out 6-slotted Sven with a Wisp behind him, increasing that attack speed. And Wings, well, they're just waiting for their doom, essentially. Secret, get every advantage that they need. It's going to be an Aegis for Arteezy, a Cheese to Highlight Die.
Yeah, that's really nice to have, because he's the one always getting jumped by the Spectre, and he can then just tether a teammate who's also taking damage, heal himself while healing any teammate back to full HP as well.
Oh, and a double damage. Just a casual side rune pickup as well. So they'll go for the tier 2 at top lane. And Secret, seemingly on the path, victory, game number 2 to push this to a full game 3 series.
BKB for Spectre, not sure this is the item that saves the game for you.
See how it works. Tier 2 now down. The top lane is exposed.
The scan from Secret. They're actually anticipating this play, but they used the smoke a little bit, the scan a little bit too early. But hey, guess what? No one's defending the high ground.
Yeah.
I wonder what that's about. And Spectre, when he defends, it's going to pop out of smoke, so this gets even more obvious.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Arteezy.
Oh, the smoke actually pops now. The BKB activated. They're going to go for Innocence here. Easy. 1,300 damage, critical. Sleep goes down from Ice Ice. I have no idea what Wings are planning now with their 2 supports already down. Be Ravage, ready to go. The BKBs are down, so this will be a successful stun on many of these heroes, but are they actually ever going to have the damage? The God Strength is going to be running out soon, but now the Exorcism comes out from Arteezy. He's going to be challenging Shadow immediately. Eternal Envy is going to be taking some focus fire damage, but really it's just not enough as Arteezy is challenging anybody to fight him. Now they go for the back line. They will maybe be able to get for Eternal Envy as Pilot I barely managed to keep him alive as EE just doesn't care. He's going for the racks, and there they get it. Forcing out the GG call from Wings. Secrets will push this to a game 3 and keep their hopes alive in this group.
Some really good IO play this game coming out from Pilot Eye, just finding numerous saves. Even at the end there, got to the tether with the cheese to keep Envy alive a bit longer. But I think the big problems for Wings was the laning stage going as badly as it did. They tried to force a few ganks, like they were diving the Death Prophet mid and just feeding him extra kills when Pilot Eye TP'd in. And on top of that, they were entirely dependent on the Tide Ravage to fight, and that just really was their undoing here. Anytime it was on cooldown, you had Roshan going the way of Secret, the Raxes were falling, so...
That's what I like to see. That kind of sheepish grin on Eternal Envy. Secret, maybe in bit better spirits after that one. Well, the answer to the question, when is Eternal Envy and Team Secret going to lose? The answer is not game 2 at least. Panel coming up.
Thanks very much, Capitalistic Gods there. We'll go back to them for Game 3, of course, but let's get the views of our panel members. And I think one member in particular will be very happy. Very happy indeed, folks.
50% win rate?
Your belief was not misplaced.
Universe Batrider. Let's go.
Universe Batrider. In all seriousness, though, this is a totally different performance. This is, dare I say it, what we would have expected to have seen coming into the tournament from them.
They changed it up, and this is, I feel like they need to keep this going. Change away from everything that they've been doing in the past couple of weeks, or at least the last couple of days.
They've unlocked the key. The key has unlocked the door to the winners' final.
I think a key thing was having that crucial initiator like Universe. Of course, I mean Arteezy and Envy played it much better in that series in that game than previously. But I think it definitely attributes to them having a full, straight up initiator rather than having him on like a Darkseer or something.
Yeah.
That we've been
Is
seeing.
it fair to say, Alan, Secret win, not a Wings loss?
Yeah, I think Secret went back to doing some of the things that they'd done well in the past. I still think the AA pick was really good for them. And when it first came out, I focused on some of the heroes that, like Husker, that Wings like to run, that it obviously takes away. Alchemist as well. But it really does also do a lot against Wings' style. It's hard when you're looking to sustain, to disengage and re-engage, be constantly running at you, to have the threat of that Ice Blast on a short cooldown to have to deal with.
I agree. I like the AA a lot in the laning phase as well versus versus Tidehunter. It's just beautiful. We saw that he had the kill right away.
Right
away level 1, and also the level 1 engagement. It's pretty much guarantees you runes. It's really beautiful. And taking a look, you can see what happened. You can see how much pressure they put. Kills all over the place. Gold advantage. They were able to just take over the map and just not let Wings play their game, not let them take it to the late game.
Yeah, and I love these things. I wish I could pause them somehow, because you can really see how in the gold graph, the second to last one, you can see how Envy just got off to that massive lead. He had 54 CS at 6 minutes into the game, almost perfect CS in lane. Arteezy actually, despite the huge initial lane lead, the Sven, managed to keep up and farm on the Death Prophet throughout the game. So Secret's just doing a much better job of distributing resources, and just the coordination in the fights was all of a sudden there. I think a lot attributable to Universe being able to start things off.
I still also like probably two things for me. Yes, the fact that you got a lot of space on top lane. You made the point with the Ancient Apparition. I kind of feel all that also happened because I didn't feel the big presence from the Enchantress. Like the first thing you saw from her was a smoke gank with a Sada. Like that was her first rotation movement, which ended up in absolutely nothing. And when Arteezy was able to keep up, a lot of it happened because they fought straight into that tier 1 tower and bottom lane. It wasn't like we saw last time with the Bounty Hunter and Lifestealer rotating in. Instead, it was, I've got Exorcism up, we've got all the damage in the world, and the rest of Team Secret arrived at the right time. So Team Secret looked so much more solid then. It gave Arteezy a big bump, and then they just started taking objectives. Envy got so much more space. There was never any kind of contest on his Ancients. Like he was always able to take it. He was a little bit defensive. Like the only thing which contested him was like a dominated creep, a radiant creep that was trying to steal one of the last hits. That was all he had.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the game. There aren't particularly too many actually, despite the fact that it was a good secret win. But we'll have a look at them in any case. And it really kicked off around about 11 minutes 30 in with a solid fight from Team Secret when they really needed it at this point.
Yeah, this is the fight I was talking about. This is when like Arteezy also just gets so much space to do as much as he wants.
Yeah, this is a really clever play because they do get the 2-man Ravage here after Universe blinks in. But this is such a weird Ice Blast. Puppey actually nailed 3 with the actual blast, but he got 3 with the projectile, which set up the kills. You can see Wings get hit with that Frostbite curse, and they're like, okay, we need to get out. We need to get out.
Yeah, it's almost like nothing of value was lost when Batrider went down. It's like, okay, we blew Ravage, and what did we lose? We lost a Batrider.
Right.
He pretty much initiated anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
It was like a weird type of initiation
and
thing.
This one came 5 minutes later, and they got a 4-kill out of this one, and it really started to extend their lead.
That silence was so big as well, instantly cancelling off the Bane's control. It was still pretty big with the Shackle. That's the only thing that really made this a little bit closer for Wings.
Yeah. He was able to survive for just enough amount of time on Death Prophet to make sure that Envy doesn't die here.
Oh, you had such a great call with this.
Yeah. You were like, oh, how's he die like that? But sometimes you underestimate how much damage the spirits do, and it also attributes because of the ice vortex on the ground, which amplifies the damage. So you don't really expect that. So you can't really blame him for dying in that manner.
But this was a little bit later on in the game, just as Secret almost were on the verge of winning, and then decided that they were going to win here, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of overextension.
But you can really see in all 3 of these fights that we've kind of broken down, Secret was making calculated decisions to fight into the Ravage. They were going to go in, they were going to force the Ravage on their terms. They knew they could deal with it. They made calculated decisions to lose heroes, right? They lost Universe in that first fight. They lost Arteezy fairly early on in that second fight, but the fight was still occurring on their terms. And what a difference from the way that we'd seen them executing in previous games going into that.
Yeah, more nervous. Yeah, more nervous and a little bit more erratic, and then suddenly in this game, much more settled, calmer. We understand what we have to do. We're going to execute exactly what we're going to do. And as you said, not get flustered when they do lose a couple of players each time. So, other than the Universe change, what do you feel the biggest difference was? Has T-Bin been in there in between the games and said, guys, what the hell are you doing? Or has he got in and gone, guys, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just need to get back to this. Please do this next game, and we'll be fine.
I think this was just a completely different, everything across the board that they did in this game.
Like they'd actually taken the 5 players out, put 5 different players in there, and called them the same name.
Pretty much. It wasn't the secret that we've been seeing since they changed their roster. This was just a completely different draft, completely different style. So they should keep this up. This is what they need, and this is the change.
Well, you'd say that anyway. He's trying to be an optimist here. Now he's got something to hold on to.
That's high-level analysis there. They just won. They should keep this up.
Well, I meant just the way that they changed. They changed
Yeah.
their style. Not just of course, they should change their losing and win. They should definitely start winning. Come on.
High-level coaching from Fogg right here.
But throughout, this is one of the trademarks of Puppey's captaincy, right?
Yeah.
When you see Puppey teams executing well, it's like a chess game, right? They know how the fights are going to go. They know exactly how much resources, how many heroes they're going to have to sacrifice at what point to get their favorable trades on the other side. And that's just the complete opposite of what we've seen out of Secret in the last several months.
I mean, with all due respect to Puppey and his legacy and everything, it has been awful at times over
Right.
the last couple of months. You
It's-
sit there and just go, what is going on with this
It's when
team?
you simplify it, like, because it was really, really simple. Like, even if you just take it back to that bottom lane fight, what do? You try and blow the Ravage. You get initiation to either kill off the Tidehunter first, or he blows the Ravage on something which doesn't matter, and then you all just go in. And they have a lineup which was capable of doing such a thing. So it's not rocket science.
No.
Like,
But
you
it is-
get
but
rid of
it
team
is-
fight
No.
control, you then go in.
Yeah, but it is what Charlie said earlier. It's about trust too. It's about
Yes.
saying, actually,
Yes.
this is what we're going to do, but please go and do it. Don't
Yeah.
Don't listen to me saying this is what we have to do, and then get a bit sort of like, oh, I don't know if I can go in just yet. Oh no, I just blew something.
Yeah.
No, I can't go in right now.
You could tell too. They had RTZ like every single time, just straight up in the
Yeah,
front, and
whether
Pi-
he was going to die or not.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was like, if I die, you know what, whatever. As long as I get enough Spirit Siphons out, I tank enough of the damage, I tank the Ravage, and then you could see Pi pretty much was waiting every single time for that Ravage to come out, following up with Envy, and then they'd go in. It didn't really matter that the Ravage was hitting RTZ. They were just like prioritizing. You know what? That's fine. That's not our right clicker. He got his
Yeah.
spells off already.
Yeah.
So
So sometimes better to go back to basics, Toby.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Pretty much.
Absolutely.
That's what Team Secret were doing, like at Shanghai. So it's like, so what do we do? Let's get Enigma and Tidehunter.
Yep.
That's great. We get crap tons of money and crap tons of team fight, and we will progress to victory this way. It really isn't that complicated. That's one thing. Like, that's the strength of Puppy. He understands how the game works. He understands how we can make any team work. Like, he went through such adversity in his Na'Vi days, and also some ups and downs in Team Secret
Yeah.
days, and even
Yeah.
before that, back when he was when he was still playing Warcraft 3 Dota, and he had players that just refused to listen to him, but he still made it so 4 players could actually work together. We won't have to bring up that entire story, but he was able to function with just 4 players listening to him, and they would still slaughter in games, and that was. Yeah, it's just strength to Puppy.
No, I love the way that Toby's putting these points because you're right. I mean, when Puppy teams play good Dota, it looks so simple. It just looks so clean. But that's at the same time why we had all been so sort of caught off guard and frustrated with the way that Secret had been playing. They hadn't been playing Puppy Dota.
Yeah, well, you mean you expect better, and you don't get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I think we were all, it's fair to say, we were all ready to write the eulogy for Secret
Oh,
before this game even came around.
The
weren't we? We were
tombstone
already,
was being
it
etched,
was.
buddy.
We
Yeah.
were etching it on the stone.
We were talking about TI6 qualifiers for
we were,
Secret.
absolutely.
Come on.
So doesn't it just show how one game can change so quickly in Dota right now?
It changes the mentality, but at the same time, we've always been doing this. Like, hey, Navi's back. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, Navi's back. Oh, no, he's not. Like, you keep like bouncing back
Secret's
and forward.
back.
It's like Secret won one game. It was really simple Dota, and they're able to do it. What happens in game 3?
Yep. Yeah.
Can you repeat it again?
Absolutely.
yes, they can, and they will.
Yeah,
Just
ignoring-
Stephen Colbert write a report.
ignoring the fanboy over here who just basically wants to get a prediction right today.
Oh, come on! I want to see them
Wow.
play well. They
Okay.
need to play well.
It gives
I
us
almost believed you.
It
I
gives
almost
us hope. It actually gives us
close,
hope for the whole
Jerk.
event, like for the main event as well as also coming up for TI6. If Secret do start playing well again, you have Digital Chaos who actually stepped up the mark as well. We're getting a lot more teams at this event, really showcasing talent, and it's talent that can also be effective inside of a game. It's not just, wow, these guys are really talented. They can't win Jack. There seems to be more and more great Dota coming up.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'm kind of joking around when I'm saying all
No,
this,
no,
but
we know you are.
I want to see good Dota. And when you
Yeah.
see Secret playing like
Bad Dota.
poorly,
Absolutely.
it really hurts because
Yeah,
these guys,
absolutely.
we all know they're incredible players.
Yep.
And they have my old teammate. One of my old teammates, Universe.
Yep.
I will always cheer for him whenever he's playing. Not to be super biased for him,
No,
but
no.
you know,
Well,
I
think
like
you're
to
right.
see them play well.
I think that's a great
Well-
point. It was something I was actually going to put to you all as well because it feels like sometimes to all of us that we sometimes fanboy a team because they play really well, but actually
Yeah.
we're not. It's just that they play really well. You call it like that.
Yeah.
At the same time, we've been very harsh on Secret. I
Yeah.
think we were very, very harsh, fairly harsh on them at Epicenter, and they deserve some of that. And the same with the first 3 games they played today. When they actually do play a game, I think it's right that we say, actually, it's good. It's healthy for Dota. It's healthy for the community that these guys are playing well because it steps everyone else's level up as well.
And it feels good. It just feels great to see. And we're all here to watch good Dota. We don't
Yeah,
want to see
we're
one team
absolutely.
crush another team ever.
And that's
Hey,
what we wanted
that's
coming
what-
into this tournament, right? When I was making my
Apart
predictions,
from-
I'm like, I have 12 teams in my top 8.
Hmm.
There are a lot of teams here that are capable of playing at a high level and playing winning Dota. The question is consistency.
We see Wings right now. Definitely taking a look at everything.
Yep.
Learning a bunch from that last one. Yeah.
So I've been told we were a couple of minutes out. The guys are just
Okay.
getting ready for their draft. So it gives me a chance for you guys to talk a little bit. Fog talked about this morning, so we'll ignore him for a moment. And he's just a fanboy for Secret anyway. We just found that out. We exposed him, right? Right on the show.
Secret losers, Fog's
I'm
prize.
joking, Fog. But
Wow.
but you
That's
two,
old meme, but it checks out. Old meme, but it checks out.
it does check out. But you two haven't had the chance to talk about the rankings that we discussed this morning, and talk to us about what you put into it. And what you
You
thought
mean
about
people
it.
had opinions on a panel about rankings?
Exactly, they did. Yeah, and I think we'd like to hear what yours were, because they were quite. I mean, Alan, we'll start with you. The difference was LGD was the biggest thing, wasn't it? With that difference in 5 plays, I found that quite surprising. But then we sort of thought, well, actually, we've been quite close to LGD here. We spoke to a lot of the Chinese players and a lot of Chinese people, and they kind of told us why they think LGD are much better than they deserve, whereas the community.
But that was the
necessarily
problem.
have that information.
That was the problem, though, with LGD is if you talk to players and you looked at scrims before Frankfurt, that information was highly informative. Here, before Shanghai, it hasn't been. And here, LGD, 14th in the community, much higher from the talent. That happens largely because the word is they've just been destroying in scrims.
In scrims, yeah. Also, I want to point out Empire at 15th, right? Have already won a series today as a qualifier, and then we're going to pick up on that in a moment, and are 1-0 up against OG right now.
Unbelievable.
Who are always ranked in the top 4 by every single one of the analysts, and inside the top 4 for the community as well.
I think, though, what you saw at Shanghai is that the group stage results didn't matter as much as I thought they were going to. There were a lot of teams, including complexity.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course, with OG.
obviously with OG,
Yeah.
But it's kind of different too, because when we're doing these predictions, I know, like, I was there going, wait, so I can probably predict the group stages a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then you're going to extrapolate what happens when you have these
Yeah.
matchups. Like, what happens when you have those best of 1 first round lower bracket games? Like, who comes out on top? Because at those points, like you say, teams like Complexity, if they're mashed up against teams which they know well or play well up against them, they play well up against, then you'd say, hey, Complexity going to get through, and you probably knock somebody big out because they'll come up with some cheese level to
Well, it's
do
not
it.
like Wings. If Wings get put in that lower bracket, you kind of feel like
Yeah,
they
things
could
go
probably
horribly
get
wrong.
out. They could probably get out
Yep.
because they can just blow you with some crazy strat, and
Yep.
that's it. You'll kind of
It's the same kind of thing with Team Secret. Like, one game doesn't go right. Like, Envy gets picked off like 2-3 times in a row, and you're like, oh boy, everything has just gone to us here. Oh, don't we'll get him in game 2. Oh crap, there's no game 2. Like, this is something which is, I'm like, that is where Team Secret, if they didn't come out in the top of this group, they fall into that dangerous area because they're not showing consistency. They're showing like 1 game out of 2 in this series where you said, hey, they actually played really, really well. But the first game was an absolute disaster. They turn up, things doesn't go right, the draft doesn't go right, problems.
I want to expand on that because it is a really good point, Fog. Do you think if Secret lose this game and drop into that lower break, do you think that's it for them? Do you think they'll finish 13th, 16th because of how dangerous it is down there? Or do you think they can go on some sort of tear like OG did at Frankfurt?
I think they can, honestly.
You think so?
Like, I don't want to be so hard on them. Like they showed promise in that game. I still think that they showed a little bit of sloppiness. I think they could have been much more pristine there because we did see a couple miscommunication plays. We saw Pi relocate and Envy popped his BKB, and then they got both of them killed basically off of that. But I do think that they can still bring it back.
Do you not think it puts more pressure on them for this final game? Because they have to win this now, surely.
It does, and especially considering like how unpredictable these groups have been. Like, some teams dropping down, you're like, wait, this shouldn't happen. Like, what happens if OG drops down and you get like OG versus Secret coming through? I don't know how the grids are made, but like if that matchup ends up happening,
you won't know, by the way, until the main event.
Right.
Okay, we don't
That's
know.
a big deal.
So it's not clear cut.
No, it's
not being revealed.
The pairings after the upper bracket versus lower bracket are determined. The pairings are randomized.
And obviously, this is to stop teams from getting the matchups they want.
Exactly. They don't want anybody throwing matches during the group phase, and the matchups matter a huge deal. I forget which one
you're
you
right.
said that.
I mean, if it carries on the way it is right now, and Empire wins,
There's the
OG
AA
drop
first
down,
phase.
And
Perfect.
this is where your predictions just go completely like.
This is actually
ass.
this is a great open by Secret here. The AA Open against the Wisp.
Oh, hello.
What?
So we had the
mentioned it
IO
last
Drow.
time.
They have played it before.
But
They
first phase draw with
they
a Wisp.
have played this before.
They did,
yeah.
but it wasn't a first phaser.
Nope.
This is a crazy open by any other. See, this is the thing about Wings that I really love talking about their draft. Any other teams, you throw up their hand and go like, okay, they're throwing this draft. They don't know what they're doing. But Wings, like, they can make something out of any lineup.
They don't want it to get banned probably as well. Maybe like right away they pick the Wisp and they're probably like, oh god, teams are looking at us about banning it.
But out of all the heroes that you have to and think about banning against Wings, do you really think Secret picks up and bans the Drow?
I think they might second phase. I think that's the problem.
I don't know.
No,
They see the IO again. They know that they beat it last time round. Do they then think, well, what else have they played with it? They played with the Drow.
is Wings forcing a reaction from Secret? Like, this is the kind of stuff which
Well,
I know...
it's
like,
going to make them think.
Like, if
Absolutely.
you talk to like players like Swindles, he loves to do this kind of stuff in the draft, where he's just like, I'm going to get this and this because I know it's going to just completely confuse the other team. They won't know exactly what we're doing, and you take something extraordinary like this, and then you make it ordinary. You know what you're going to end up getting, and then they'll be like, no, they're trying something new out of the box.
Yeah.
Like, it's Axe Wyvern
I mean,
jungle.
it's
something like this.
unconventional, but it's not unusual.
It
No,
also,
not at all.
It
It's
also
normal.
instills fear, like in a matter, because now you're looking, you're like, oh god, we gotta ban what Visage, we gotta ban like
Like the
these
VS,
weird heroes,
how-
Venge, like these weird
Yeah,
heroes.
you got to
that we
ban the
wouldn't
Venge
always
is the
ban.
number one thing, and then and then it's down to like the Visage, the Wind Ranger, or
So, see, the funny thing is, too, like, you don't even need
maybe
that.
the Puck.
Like, you don't even need to start banning out these heroes, because you also understand the Drow Ranger by itself can just function. Like, if you have like a range hero in the lane, obviously you get a little bit more, but like Drow still adds a nice little bit of early push, and you can make it work
right.
anywhere. like I still actually really enjoyed the old Arteezy thing. Like when Arteezy died 3 times in the mid lane as Conqueror, I'm like, hey, it would have been really great if he was a Drow Ranger then,
Oh,
because then it
God,
would still
Toby.
work.
I want to add one thing though.
Go ahead.
I think that Wings is going to do something that they did recently and go for this Oracle, because they are playing versus Beastmaster. So I think Secret should really ban the Oracle here, because it's
Didn't they ban
extremely
it-
good versus
didn't they
the
ban it game
Beastmaster.
one?
However,
No.
AA is really strong. But
Did they not ban it game 1?
First of all,
It was
I
banned in
think
the,
they
it was
did
banned in the
game
second
one, right?
phase.
Yeah.
First
It
of
was banned
all,
in second phase.
first of all, AA, which you already
Yes.
mentioned, but second of all, I actually think you bait the Oracle pick here, because that gives Wings 2 very naturally defensive supports, and that's not the style that they like to play.
But it
I am-
depends. It
They've
depends
banned
how
it
you
back,
play,
right?
because
I am
Oracle also gives
okay.
you a lot of burst damage early
I'm
on.
just saying what they've used recently and what is good.
Sure.
Of course, it's very good versus Beastmaster in general. You know, you remove the roar right away. It gives them a lot more laning pressure. Of course, not the rotation pressure, but then they just pick stronger lanes, other heroes in the other lanes. Like in the one that they did, they had Queen of Pain, Puck, Wisp, Drow, and Oracle. So they had these self-sufficient
Yeah,
other laners,
yeah,
and then they
yeah.
had the Oracle just sticking with the Drow.
Yeah, which is why it's odd that they've banned
That's
out the
really good. I'm not sure I'm
The-
on board with it, but it's
They're probably worried about like who's going to be the initiation, because if Drow is one of the callers on the mid or the safe lane, like you look towards the offlane initiation, and Batrider is still fantastic
Yeah,
for that.
they might just be completely deterred from it though by the AA, because we do know the AA blast, of course, is amazing versus Oracle. But removing roar instantly, if you're able to do that and get him out of the way of that AA blast,
see, it's just so as an analyst, it's so hard to analyze Wings, because most other teams have a fairly structured set of early
It's okay,
rotations
it's okay,
based
Alan.
on their support pairing.
It's fine though, Alan.
Wings is just going to do whatever the hell
No,
they want.
it's fine, Alan. None of their players know what their captain's doing right now either. Absolutely fine. It's
All right,
just
fair
Wings
enough.
things. That's all it is
But
right there.
they're such a fun team to analyze and talk about precisely for that reason.
It was that conversation we were having this morning with Seb.
Exactly.
Where we're just like, hey, Wings is really good. It's like, they are the biggest headache to draft
Yes.
against, because you just don't know.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that coaches will really help teams playing against Wings, but I'm not so sure anymore. I think they're actually screwing with their minds worse than they would do if they didn't have a coach.
It's perfect. I love it.
No, I tried the exercise actually before, because people there were a couple people who I speak to in Dota that I respect that said, okay, well, Wings is going to get figured out. And so I tried this exercise before this tournament. I said, okay, if I'm scouting them, if I'm putting
Yep.
together a dossier
Yep.
on them for another team,
What
do I write up?
What are the main points?
And the dossier would have been like 60 pages long. Like it's either 60 pages or 2 pages. They run at you, or here's all the different things that they've done with these different hero sets, because they're very diverse in what they do.
There's a puck on Secret.
Well, this
Yeah.
does also feel like a
And that's
semi
actually
like
also
block
a
pick as
deny
well.
pick. Yes,
Yeah,
Toby.
we're on
Yep.
it. We're on it,
Yes.
man. We're on it.
like we were saying, the self-sufficient solo laners, and Puck is one of those. So that's
But
I
this-
like that pick. Like
But
that pick
this
a
now
lot.
also means that
guys are
Team
on it.
Secret are revealed 2 of their lanes. Like that's Arteezy mid and that's a Beastmaster off. Like Wings can just go for something a little bit more stable. You can go into something like an Invoker for that mid lane, something you feel really confident with.
They're not 100% committed to that. You still can
No,
go
they
puck
can-
off
they can
lane,
do
beast,
anything.
but yeah, given what their players do and what they like to run, that's
Yeah,
very
you
likely.
could push the Beastmaster into a 4 position, but I'd be a little bit concerned doing that as well as having the AA.
Does Wings go back to like their crazy Veno thing here too?
It wouldn't be bad for fights, but I prefer to see something which is a little bit more direct push.
No, I don't think you can.
I speak for the team.
And that is
Oh
direct.
boy, okay.
Is it actually going to be what we talked about earlier today? Is it the double dragon lance? Is it
Double
the-
dragon? Oh, maybe.
Is it the push up high ground?
Maybe. I mean, they're one of the teams that would probably do something like that. That's very out of the box.
Oh. So you get double Dragonlance on Prophet as well as Straight Ranger, and you can attack tier 3 towns at around 15,
Sure.
16 minutes in because you just take so much already. And like, it's not even a sieging high ground. You actually assault the high ground by doing it.
Yeah, but that's all, like, it's all well and good on paper, but then you have a team in Secret that already has multiple ways to initiate into you while you're doing that. Like, that's not.
It's
That's pretty scary.
I'm not saying it's a flawless strat.
I also think that they could just be prepping for taking a game to the late stages because they see the puck picked up, they see the Beastmaster picked up. They know it's probably going to be a single core draft.
I hate
so
it,
they have
though.
Drow, and then they have Furin, and then if they go for another
But,
core.
no, yes, I hate that idea just because. So Furion, I believe in this patch, it's similar stat 2 in the last patch, but in this patch I believe he's 2-11 in 50+ minute games.
Yes.
Drow falls off precipitously past about 45 minutes.
This
Just
is early push.
You give
Or it's
yourself
just
a
straight
window
early
by
push.
doing that. Yeah, it's got to be early
You
push.
just,
It's gotta be.
use your army. Like you bring in a whole bunch of Treants, they back up when you're pushing.
This
The
is
Ember
really
Spirit
good
from
by
Secret,
Secret.
like
I like that pick a lot.
this is
This
nice
is
for
really
Secret.
good.
They invest a lot into their late game. They know if they can make it past this early push of Wings, they're going to be in a real solid position. But Wings have really good push themselves. They can burn through these buildings.
This is why I wanted them to ban the Wind Ranger over the Bat Rider, because we all know Envy likes to go toward that Ember Spirit. It's one of his go-to comfort heroes, but at the same time, the Wind Ranger is a bit of a natural counter to the Ember Spirit, and you've got the Drow Aura, of course, on top of that in this game. Any minus armor is going to end the Ember Spirit.
Ricky, last one, really?
Ricky ban.
That's actually not that bad.
It's not what I was thinking, though. I was thinking like still something that's going to support the push. Something like Chen, even if you want to start triggering people, Jakiro. Yeah, you haven't brought that one up. I thought you would have since Epicenter.
I was
A lot of
saving it
people
till
talking about
tomorrow's
mid
group
THD
game,
right now.
because I've got some inside information.
I'm sorry, Red.
We're gonna see tomorrow.
I blew your secret.
Oh well, yeah.
Are we gonna see mid THD?
We're gonna see Jakiro tomorrow.
Okay.
Mid THD.
Calling it now.
We're going back to the days of THD versus TA.
Like, I swear, half a dozen different people have brought that up to me, like that mid THD can actually crush DK. I don't know about that, but like seriously, so many people are talking about that.
Yeah, Complexity Boys were talking about it around the restaurant in Russia.
Yep.
They really were.
And they definitely brought their A game to this event already.
Yeah.
Shut up, Toby.
Wow, that was a good BM.
No, it really was.
That was really BM.
Swindles and I are good. We're fine.
So
Wow.
Dark's here ban.
He's definitely not going to be happy with today, but he'll also
No.
take it on the chin.
All right, final two picks.
Darkseer Band's a bit weird.
So what? Visage is there.
Hmm.
And
I just stay simple, take Lion.
Lion's probably the most appropriate just to deal with this Ember Spirit.
I mean, of course,
that's not a Wings. That's
yeah,
not a
that's
wings.
not a Wings hero, though.
it's not a
Yeah,
Wings
yeah.
hero.
They prefer something far
Although
more funky.
every hero is a Wings hero.
I guess
but
so, right? And I don't think they'll pick the Oracle. I said it before that they might, but it's not very good. Yeah, they go
okay,
for
Rubik.
okay.
Yeah, that's actually
lovely.
their like second
That's
most
their
picked
second most
hero, so
picked.
I should have been on that. Yeah.
5 range lineup.
But Wisp Rubik. Wisp Rubik supports is very underwhelming.
But at least it gives you the option of the disable, and it gives you the positioning option with the tether. They're capable of running Rubik. They're very comfortable with the hero. They're capable of running it in a very aggressive style. It's much less the static lane support in their hands.
And it gives you the no
no
field to deal with at least some of the magic damage coming out from Secret.
which is
Secret,
very
yeah.
relevant going into that.
Okay, very quickly, Alan. Which has had the better draft here?
I actually think Secret are in their. I mean, I'm going to go against my prediction for the series because I think Secret are in their comfort zone with this draft. This is a very, very different looking draft from game one. I think they take it.
Toby?
I really actually like Secret's draft, but it's difficult to go against Wings when they have two of my favorite heroes, Prophet as well as Drow together.
Oh my god.
I actually feel like Wings are going to win this within the first 25 to 30 minutes, or they lose.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go with Wings this game, going against my prediction from earlier.
All right, okay. Wings, do they take it in game 3, or do Secret carry on with a chance of making the upper bracket in the main event? Let's find out as we head back to our commentary team. Cap, it's all yours.
Thank you, Red. Very good question indeed. Who's going to be the first team taken out of Group D? We're about to find out as game number 3 between Team Secret and Wings starts now.
Ha! Team Secret versus Wings Gaming. Who will be victorious?
God damn it, gods.
Are you
Every
prepared?
single time now I hear who, that's always going to be in my head.
All right, well, here we have the Team Secret side. Envy, the Sven from last game. Universe playing an old school could be a bit of a throwback on the Earthshaker.
Yeah. I'm a fan. Oh, those eyes. Jesus, I can't even look at that screen. Sorry, I can't look at the screen anymore.
Arteezy's eyes.
I gotta.
He's seen some things.
Yeah, he's seen Secret playing, apparently. No, Game 3, Wings, Secret, things. I kind of feel like Drone Ranger first picks are kind of like a slap to the face of the enemy team. It's kind of like, we could just run a Drone Ranger strat. You can't counter it, despite having 3 picks to do so. What are your thoughts on this kind of weird drafting style from Wings?
I agree with that, but it's like Wings have done this before. Just before coming to this tournament, when they won the Summit Chinese qualifiers against Vici Gaming Reborn, they did this exact opening 2 picks, the IO plus the Drone Ranger. So this is something they've done before, they're very comfortable with, and being on that dire side, it can snowball out of control very quickly. And I think something important that Fog mentioned was when they see the Puck plus Beastmaster, they're probably thinking like we can actually also go pretty well into the late game. You look at just the cores alone, like Wind Ranger, Nature's Prophet, Drone Ranger against what? Puck, Beastmaster. I guess Beastmaster's kind of the jungling, but let's play he's one of the 3 cores. Ember Spirit, like the late game of Secret's actually not that scary.
It is just pretty much all in the hands of the Ember Spirit when it comes to the real damage late game. But now we have an Earthshaker off lane, and also the support of Ancient Apparition scales decently well into the late. Wings will have, I think, plenty of opportunities to be able to win this game, but it's going to come in some very specific timings. And one of the earliest ones is obviously going to be our laning phase, where we've got a Wind Ranger matched up against a Puck, but the Wind Ranger's got the extra Drone Ranger aura. And then bottom lane, you've got Bian as a Furion, but he's also got the damage, and he's putting it to use against Eternal Envy. He's taken so much damage already.
Yeah, has boots so he can chase even further if he wants to. But yeah, this is not a fun lane for Envy from the get-go. Pilot Eye not really there to zone, and Ice is on a solo smoke bottom on Rubik, so perhaps thinking they can get this early kill, although Envy's back to full HP, so he's going to have to wait for some harass here first.
I mean, he's probably still right, though. Pilot Eye is going to step a little bit too far forward, gets the telekinesis, and with all that right-click damage, it's going to be real easy for Ice to pick up the first blood.
Yeah. Not going to Faith Beyond, which would have been the ideal hero to get it because you get the fast phase boots, but still pretty good with Ice getting the early money.
And for obvious reasons, the Drone Ranger lane is also going to go quite well. Earthshaker. I mean, in that regard, I would say that Beastmaster off lane, probably actually, that's like one of the few lanes you probably wouldn't do real well, and you'd have to just go jungle anyway. So it does kind of make sense to pick up one of those heroes like the old, Earthshaker off lane or the Clockwork off lane or something like that that is able to just get a little something out of scenarios that most other off laners can.
And they're not really expecting the Earthshaker to be like that big scary farm core here in the late game. Puppy's going to probably be more farm than Universe throughout this entire game, but this is very much just setting up, getting as much farm out of the map as possible.
Oh, bien, that was not the play. Tries to go for the teleport out, doesn't actually make it. Ice turns around, gets a little more damage on Pilot Eye, but almost dies in the process. Good play though by Secrets. The Furion is kind of like the cat chasing the mouse, the dog chasing the cat. Chasing after Ice. Furion chases out to the Ancient Apparition, but in the end, it's going to be Eternal Envy who's the Supreme Predator. Meanwhile, Arteezy may actually go down in the middle lane. He's got a phase shift, dodges both of those projectiles. Bian had it. Oh, what a treant! Okay.
That treant has done his dues. He can retire happy.
Yeah, he really can. He's going to get a little bit more. They're going to get a boar as well. Get him, sick him. All right.
Cruelty. Somebody call Peter.
Well, GP back to mid, but Puppy, I think you need to go back to base, my friend.
Yeah, a bit of a scrappy.
It's going to leave you alone.
Scrappy early game, but yeah. Oh boy, Puppy needs to be careful here. Actually.
Yeah, he really does. There is the Sprout ready to go, so Bian's going to be able to block out Puppy a little bit more. Looks like should still be fine though. Puppy's okay. Draws Arteezy over here. Now the Ancient Apparition actually coming in from the side, while Arteezy takes a break from the mid lane to get some revenge on Bian, and will be able to do so.
I think too aggressive from Bian. This is still, you're 3 minutes in, Bian. We saw this last game where Wings just went a little bit too aggro in the laning stage. Like they're at their strongest when they hit that like 10 to 15 minute timing and start playing aggressive. And I think a solo Nature's Prophet leading the way for kills is not the way to go. You want to have the Prophet being that second or third hero to the fight with teleport. So setting up camp in the enemy jungle, perhaps not the right approach at this stage of the game. maybe if he had the phase boots already from the first blood, but he didn't get the money for it. He hasn't picked up any of those blades of attack yet.
And this actually turned into a really weird scenario where Rubik was the one who picked up the first blood and has also been spending more time in the offlane than the Furion is. So he is actually almost level 4, and he's already got arcane boots.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds great, but realistically, like, an arcane boots this early on doesn't actually give your team all that much when you're not grouping up. Maybe if Rubik's sitting bottom lane spamming Fade Bolt on Envy, it's kind of annoying, but at best, it's just that. It's annoying.
Yeah, and who else of your team really makes use of a whole lot of mana? This is a Draw Ranger strat after all. A lot of them are going to be focused on just being right clickers. So
I think they're just expecting Puppy. Something with the Beastmaster jungle is the hero is often very low HP while jungling. You have to ferry out extra regen, extra salve. So if you do catch him on low HP, you can find like maybe a cheap, easy kill, but that wasn't the case with Nature's Prophet.
Ice. It's a little too close there. Ancient Apparition and Ember Spirit able to run him away, and he has to actually TP out because Puppy was going to cut off his retreat as well. We haven't really talked too much about Universe, but he actually rotated down to the bottom lane. Obviously, that top lane is just never going to be a whole lot of fun for him. He's already picked up the Soul Ring just to kind of Fisher spam his way to some success, but in the end, the laning phase is still going to go much better for Wings. It seemed, at least at first, with the Furion kills and Arteezy actually kind of getting back into the swing of things, he's evened up in CS against Blink.
And they're kind of lacking kill potential on the puck. Something that you'd normally see like a Wind Ranger like Dandy do is max Shackle Shot in this mid lane. And I think it's a much better way to play. You're going to get more damage out of the Focus Fire when you're playing with the Precision Aura on your team, and that's where you're much better off going for the max Shackle build. So I think Blink perhaps not as comfortable playing something like a Wind Ranger mid with the Drow, and also with the Nature's Prophet TPing in, you want to have that extra bit of disable for the Shackle. The Sprout even sets up a free Shackle. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
We'll see. Level 6 now means marksmanship is up, so a lot of extra damage output coming from all of the Wings heroes.
Puppy is pretty much a 3 position, at least when it comes to farm priority now. Earthshaker, unable to do anything at the top lane, is very rapidly falling farther and farther behind, but that really is what an Earthshaker or Clockwork offlaners do. They just need some levels. Ice is going to show up. He's smoked up for this position, will be able to get the pullback. Shadow comes forward, should be able to slow down Universe enough. Arteezy does come in with a Dream Coil, but there's not a whole lot of follow-up TPs here, and Arteezy silenced up. Isn't actually able to get out in time, it looks like, as the Orb is only going to be able to get him so much space, and Instant actually kills him first before Arteezy could get the kill on the support. 2 for nothing as Wings just outpositioned Secret. There really should have been more TPs from Secret. If Arteezy's going to TP to that top lane, Ember Spirit needs to be there. Maybe one of the supports as well.
Yeah, just that. If you're going to TP everyone, but I think perhaps it may have just been better to ditch the tower. They didn't quite recognize how many numbers Wings have TPing in, but you're playing against the Nature's Prophet. That's the like go-to move for a Nature's Prophet at this stage of the game. You're ready to push the top tower, you get the ward behind, you get the supports initiating in with the telekinesis, and then Prophet TPs in to give you that 4v1 plus tower or a 4v2 in that scenario because Arteezy gives them the extra freebie.
Yeah. It seems like another situation where when we're watching Secret, where there's just not good enough communication. Because if I'm Arteezy, I'm expecting maybe Eternal Envy to TP there, but EE, I believe he actually TP'd back to base and remnanted to bottom, because when we looked at bottom lane, his TP was actually on cooldown. That's why he didn't show.
And that's where perhaps like Puppy and Envy need to be communicating, keeping tabs on those things. Hey, Puppy, because he also wasn't level 6 yet. If you have a Roar, then it's a great time to try and counterplay that, but Puppy had to make the call like, okay, Universe, you're going up there, but if they dive you, if they make that play, we're not going to back you up. They almost have to have talked about it before the dive actually happened, and it didn't feel like that was the case.
Well, maybe they will have discussed this one. Eternal Envy is going to be able to catch Shadow here in place. Telekinesis throwback isn't going to be enough as Shadow is caught by the cold feet, and Eternal Envy lays claim to the enemy carry. Still, though, Blink is actually wrapping around here. He's got the haste room. He's got the opportunity, the angle for the Shackle Shot onto Universe. Should be able to finish up maybe before the Fisher. Yeah, it comes out at the same time. Either way, they get the kill.
They have Roll, though. This could backfire.
Yeah, Eternal Envy's going to go straight for Innocence here. He does. Oh, maybe not. Doesn't have to jump away in time. Oh, barely. As just in time, the Primal Roar is able to stop Blink. And now, here comes the combo. Arteezy is able to put a stop to a lot of this. Just the TP out from the Rubik is the only one to escape from that Dream Coil, but they get the bigger kill and the Wind Ranger. Now
relocate back in.
Silence onto Arteezy. They've got him. A big kill there. They're going to look for a little bit more as Bien pops himself out, goes for the Sprout play. He's got the drums activated too. They have a slight movement speed advantage, but they have to be careful of Fisher on 3 underneath the tier 2 with Eternal Envy backing them up as well. He does get silenced up, and they're going to try and right-click him down, but now the stuns come in, and Eternal Envy should be able to finish off Shadow. If this right-click damage sprouted up, oh no, Eternal Envy's actually going to die. Shadow starts running himself away. The Fisher misses! Shadow, he has to juke his way through this one somehow, but not going to be able to do it. The Enchant Totem catches him. Bien, meanwhile, is stuck inside this awkward position. He does have a Sprout. He's going to go for it now, but Arteezy is able to jump onto him with the orb. Silence finishing him up. Again, Wings' over-aggression may be costing them this laning phase.
Yeah, they're just taking the fight to Secret a bit too hard and a bit too early on the game, giving them a lot of kills to turn things around there, and that is kind of unnecessary aggression coming out from Wings. I feel like you hit your timing with the Drow Ranger like a bit later, like around that, again, the 12 to 15 minute mark. That's where Wings really thrive, and they're just trying to force it a bit too much. Take a tower with like a 4-man rotation, that's one thing, but diving that deep near the tier 2 towers, they really overstayed their welcome.
Yeah, they certainly did. Arteezy going for that 10-minute rune. The Furion's going to back him up, though, and that's why Arteezy abandons hope for that rune, but they get the shackle shot surrounding Arteezy. He will end up going down. That's the combination that Wings should be able to operate with a little bit more, rather than going for these strange 4-man, 3-man tier 2 dives.
Yeah, that's a really good TP from Faith Beyond.
They get the tier 1 tower off of that too.
And those are the kinds of kills which will guarantee you a tower. They could possibly rotate bottom and try to get a second tier 1, or even go for Roshan. This early on in the game, they've got the damage output with the precision aura, though Drow Ranger not in the neighborhood.
Highlight knows he's died enough in his time as a player. He knows what's going to be happening. Wings going to make that full rotation down to bottom lane, put some pressure on this tier 1, and if he's sitting even behind the tier 1 in that tree area, they're probably going to go for the dive. So he backs out before he gets his level 6. The rest of the team is going to smoke up, though, and still try and catch Wings shortly after they take it. Universe cutting across, looking for the Fisher opening. They do get the Primal Roar. Blink manages to get off the wind run first. Now the Primal Roar turnaround on the Universe. He doesn't manage to get off the Fisher, and they get the relocate save. Universe even goes down before getting off anything. Still, though, Eternal Envy, beautiful jump in, will be able to lay claim to 2, but Arteezy's going to be the turnaround kills. They get the silence onto him and beat him to a pulp. Secret with Wings, 2 for 2, but that was a smoke exchange. And that was also Wind Ranger and Drow Ranger picking up some of those kills.
That was one of those moments where you just feel like Secret get the jump, they're catching Wings by surprise, it's going to go terribly wrong, but Wings just make some great instinctive defensive plays. The Rubik gets the insta-steal on Roar and finds the perfect target, prevents the Fissure, the Echo Slam to immediately follow up the Roar, and then they also get the relocate save as well. Everything that Wings needed to do in a split second was done.
Yeah. Now, Wings, having just won a fight not too far away from the Roshan pit, as you said, they can rather easily do it. And this time around, Universe does not have a blink tag or make some sort of $3 million Echo Slam play, or maybe he does. Fisher actually goes out onto 3. Eternal Envy's going to be silenced up, but Universe walks straight into him with the Echo Slam. Never mind, he may have actually gotten that stolen. Ice turns around, gets a minimal amount of damage onto both Secret, and they still are going to lose 1 to Eternal Envy as he moves forward. Eternal Envy jumps back in, goes for Innocence. He's got the backup of Arteezy. The Drain Coil locking down both of them. Arteezy marches forward. He should be able to get... Oh, couldn't quite finish off Shadow before he dies, but still, it's going to be a huge win for Secret either way as they take out 4 members of Wings for just Eternal Envy, and now they're going to be able to claim Roshan for themselves.
That's a team wipe with a buyback on Nature's Prophet, and absolutely terrible fight for Wings. They're really forcing it there, perhaps. Oh, they're going to try and fight this.
Whoa, okay, the Sprout goes down. This is definitely a lineup that is dependent on Roshan, but how much can you really do with this one? Oh, they just barely managed to take away that Aegis as well as finishing off the Earthshaker. Ban, he's actually going to be able to get Pylai die as well. These crazy right clicks, Primal Roared at the last second, but it doesn't matter. The shot was already there, finishing off the Ancient Apparition, and now the backup. Ice chops down the trees, not good enough to be able to save the Furion. Ice challenging Arteezy though even further, bringing back that telekinesis, and the power shot actually missed. Good
phase be cut
shift.
Off, though.
Yeah, you see on the other side, Drow Ranger ready to go, has his silence. Arteezy knows he's trapped like a rat. He will end up going down. Somehow, Wings go from throwing the Roshan fight to kind of recovering it.
Yeah, kind of. The Aegis gets immediately dispelled by killing off Puppey there, who had to pick it up because of how low he was, but Wings instantly on the aggression. It was such a unnecessarily forced Roshan, it felt like. They're huddled in the pit with Ice Blast coming in. If they want to go for that, I feel like you've got to have a sentry just to have the detection for the Ice Blast, so you know it's coming and can at least get out of the pit. But Ice Blast with a fissure, trapping, like 2 heroes were even trapped against the wall inside the Roshan pit, meant they were just caught in this terrible, awkward position where Secret are going to win a team fight against them.
Yeah. I mean, how do they possibly let an Earthshaker just run into melee range with them like that?
It feels like they're going to need an early kind of pipe of some sort. The other thing is Rubik not going for any points in null field. This spell actually received some 6.87 changes where the level 1 point in it went from 5% to 10%, and that's a big upgrade in terms of overall magic resistance against a lineup which is very magic damage heavy. So I think he should have gone for at least 1 less point in the telekinesis when considering the overall game plan of Wings.
Yeah. Oh, the stun onto Blink. He gets blown up immediately. Fisher, Primal Roar, and an Ice Blast as they catch him out with a well-timed sentry placement.
So there will be a mech coming out from Faith Beyond. The item you kind of expect on the Nature's Prophet, although not quite as effective considering you're reversing the Ancient Apparition. If Secret get the right initiation with a Fissure into Ice Blast, that one hero is going to get taken out. And that's really the beauty of Secret's draft. It's very good at focusing down a single target. And rather than spreading the damage across where you're going to get value out of that mech, one hero is getting blown up and the mech is going to get taken out of the equation.
Yeah, and that Blink Dagger on Earthshaker is, I think, what is going to allow Secret to continually get those kind of initiations with the Ice Blast. They're going to be able to focus down one hero like the Wind Ranger with that kind of instant blink in, disable of Echo Slam, follow up Fisher. Arteezy just used an orb offensively and is maybe going to be caught out here. Managed to dodge the Shackle Shot. He has the orb coming up, but good silence relocate play from Wings. Make sure that Arteezy is punished.
I think this game is actually going to turn into a more late game oriented play. And it's something like some of the panel kind of talking about, like, okay, you got to win before 25 minutes with the Drove, but at the same time, at this stage, Wings aren't going to do that. You're against the Blink Earthshaker. You're pushing into a Fissure Ice Blast combo, a Puck with a Veil, an Ember Spirit who's going to be working towards a Battle Fury once like that those initial pushes get defended. So I think more than anything, Wings want to be able to find pickoffs and scale into the late game. You can find pickoffs with Shadow going into a Shadow Blade, very fitting. It just means he can then initiate by himself and then find an IO plus Wind Ranger relocate in. Orchid is going to be the item for Wind Ranger. Everyone's actually going for pickoff items on the Wing side, recognizing that this game is not going to be a pure, let's just push our way to victory using Drow Ranger, using Aegises, and just using this big 5-man play.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. It seems like Plan A, they screwed up too much for that to be an option. They're not going to be able to push high ground by 20 or something like that. So time for Plan B, and it's not a terrible one at that. We still will have insane damage on the Shiro Ranger and Wind Ranger. Even the Furion can start building into more of a right-click role if he wants to. Shadow Blade is complete, and that means like Tornlembi as well as Arteezy do really have to be careful with their positioning. They're going to be used to being able to sit really far forward on these heroes and split push, but that may not be the case with this Shadow Blade picked up.
See where these first pickoffs will go. There's such great global ganking potential with Relocate and the Nature's Prophet TP. Got a lot of good initiators, and I can imagine Blink maybe eyeing off a Blink Dagger after he gets the Orchid.
Looks like a smoke play.
And Secret know they just dewarded some of that aggressive vision from Wings, so this is a good time to push out the lanes and go for a smoke themselves.
Okay, maybe not. The Shadow Blade has been spotted, though, by the Roshan ward placed by Secret, so this will come as no surprise to them. They're even going to spot it a second time with the ward counter-ward combination. They're inside their own jungle. So Secret are definitely getting the better of this exchange as they are pushing out the top lane. They're going to be able to control mid as well. Giving up control of their jungle is fine at this point in time. They know how dangerous Wings is at this point.
I think Secret just want to, again, map control, always have detection here. Puppy's going to go straight into the Necro 3. We saw the Crimson Guard last time, and it was a great pickup. That was, even though Secret lost that game, Puppy was like kind of the most impactful player throughout against Na'Vi. But this time around, I think he's recognized they have enough answers to the push and the just kind of damage output of Wings by just being able to blow them up with Puck as well as Earthshaker. So he wants to have that utility of the Necro Book as well as that extra bit of damage output and detection.
Blink Dagger for the Rubik, but there's the Necronomicon. Number 2 already up, and number 3 is not going to be too far away. if Arteezy can continue to take down some of these towers. This is going to be the first one that Secret has claimed in the game so far. Wings not actually contesting. They're going to go for a tier 2 at bottom.
And Wings going to just turn this into a game of trades where if Secret push a tower, they'll try to get one in return. If Secret ever split up, they'll try and find those pickoffs, but not a game where they want to ever really try and take Secret head on until they get much more in the way of items. They're going to need BKBs, not immediately, but sometime in the near future.
Yeah. Jump around. Eternal Envy backs himself out. Arteezy shows himself in bottom lane with the TP covering him as well. He's not careful. That Shadow Blade might have got him out. They do get the Dream Coil on the Shadow. He's going to throw TP away. Maybe the Primal Roar. Actually, the relocate out is just in time as the TP wouldn't have made it. Wings, will this be a clean extraction by them? They still have the Wisp being left, but he's going to go for a tether play. Actually, Eternal Envy, knowing that's exactly going to be happening here, BN is going to be caught by at least that, but managed to get the TP away. Innocence is still going to go down in the end. Wings unable to save their support.
They have to roll for it as well, though, so at least gives them some peace of mind for the next 65 seconds that there won't be a roar coming in. But overall, looked like a really bad position for Wings to be in there with the getting caught near the tier 2 tower, because they hung around, I think, trying to prevent a deny, but it was just kind of an unrealistic expectation when you've got a Blink Earthshaker coming in, the roar from the Beastmaster, but they cut their losses only losing the IO.
Scan going out. There's the Orchid. So
I'm not convinced this item really changes what Wings' game plan or allows them to get more aggressive. It means they just have another this just pretty much turns Wind Ranger into a Drow as well, where you've got that silence, so if you ever find someone by yourself, you can kill them with the relocate in.
Yeah.
So you've now got 2 heroes who can go hunting with Wind Ranger and Drow. And even the Rubik with the Blink Lift can set up for kills as well with the relocate in.
Which kind of means that Secret always need to have a battle buddy behind one of these cores that's going to be pushing out the wave, whether it's the Puck or the Ember Spirit. You see Paladai is kind of operating as that for now. The Earthshaker is also going to give him some much-needed extra protection, though.
Not sure. Yeah, battle buddy who's not Paladai.
Yeah,
perhaps.
exactly.
He's like the one hero who, if you're the Ember and Py's right behind you, he's not going to be able to help you much.
Unless Paladai is like phase-checking the incoming gank for you. Yeah. He's like, don't worry, guys, I'll tank it.
That's normally been the Paladai play historically. So. But yeah, Shaker's sitting behind
Right.
Envy.
Here's the play. Shackle shot. There's the Orchid as well. The relocate is coming out. They managed to get the Fisher, but it's not going to be able to stop the Drow Ranger from finishing him off. They throw out the Echo Slam, but that's not good enough, and now Universe is going to be caught as well. They anticipated that kind of gank, I think, from maybe the Drow Ranger. I don't think they knew about the Orchid just yet. They anticipated that kind of gank, but because the Wind Ranger was the one setting it up and they had the relocate follow-up, that was just too much for Secret to be able to counter.
And it felt like they got overconfident once that Shackle misses. They're like, okay, they missed the Shackle. Yeah, he's silenced, but let's go back and initiate him. They needed to really save the Fissure to deal with the relocate coming in. Echo Slam on its own, not enough.
Yeah.
And it's also a situation where, just what we said, Paladai, not really the best counter-initiating hero. You need the Beastmaster Roar. The Earthshaker alone can't deal with all 3 heroes unless they happen to group up as 3, which was not the way Wings positioned it.
Careful there, Ice. Like what he's doing, just farming that medium camp. He's got a lot of aggressive vision around this Radiant jungle. And seeing any potential rotations up to him, while also his team keeping the mid lane pushed out as well.
The game, it does feel a bit worrying for Secret right now. It's not feeling like a typical Drow Ranger game where it's like, okay, we've survived the push, they're not snowballing, they haven't won the game. No, it just feels like Drow's just another kind of fairly, average late game carry, but against a line which also doesn't have much late game carry. But Wings have way more tools to find pickoffs to actually control the tempo of the game. Even without pushing, they're still going to be the ones dictating play.
See what happens with Roshan round 2 for Wings. Already seems like they're going to be a little bit gun shy about going for that.
There's not really any reason to get caught in the Roche pit again. They can just keep the lanes pushed out and make it so that you know where Secret are on the map. If you can split Secret up, that's going to be when you're at your strongest.
Between the Ember Spirit, Puck Blink, the Universe Blink as well. There's so many ways for Secret to be able to catch you during Roshan, but they're actually going to be the ones going for the aggressive play here. Smoke up, move forward. There goes the jump. They managed to catch Shadow, trying to get the relocate out, but it's not going to be good enough. The Echo Slam actually stopping that one in its tracks, so they get 2 for it. And now get tier 1 and probably Roshan with that.
Yeah, really nice timing on the smoke, knowing that Roche is going to be up. Your opponent's unlikely to go for it, but they had a gem on Puppey, they had all the detection they needed, and if they can find a kill in that vicinity, you're either going to get Roshan, towers, or a bit of everything. And Wings are not in a position to contest this at all. They're just going to go for the trade in top/bottom, and it will be a tier 2 tower claim, but a much bigger prize being the Aegis here for Team Secret.
This means Eternal Envy. He's going to be that big-time brawler that you really like to see, the Ember Spirit, around 25 minutes, where he's just up in your face constantly. And Second Life will behoove him to act as such.
It's not the easiest for Secret's Lamp to force fights, though, is one of the big problems. Even with the a potential Blink pickup on Puppey when they've got Blink Raw, they've got the Puck as well, but Wings are always going to avoid any kind of fight. If you try and push with the Aegis, you haven't got the best pushing lineup, and it's very apparent to Wings, who will then just immediately send their Wind Ranger, their Drow to a side lane to split push.
Yeah. Pi apparently thinking that he's not going to be using the Ice Blast in the next 30 seconds. Throws out that ult to be able to pick up a couple of CS and start moving towards that Aghanims. Gonna decent little stack there on the Radiant Ancient camp. Wings farming their own Ancients and keeping themselves rather spread, trying to farm efficiently while they very clearly know now is not the time to be aggressive.
Yeah, with Wings, it's really just slow down the pace of this game, not even just taking into consideration the Aegis. I think they're just going to be very comfortable playing at a pace where they're the ones finding pickoffs, continuing to pick up BKBs as well. Not a huge rush necessarily. Okay, they will go for one as Wind Ranger's next item, even before the Aghanim Scepter. And I think once they have like triple BKB, this Secret's teamfight has very limited physical damage, but they've got the ability to blow up heroes before they get BKBs off with a Blink Echo, with a Roar, and potentially later on with something like a Puck Hex. Although the Aghanim Scepter may be the better option to have an answer for the BKBs.
So then it comes down to a lot of it being vision for Wings and also potentially trying to find initiation of their own. It just seems unlikely in those sort of like, you know, pushing scenarios where Wings go forward with their BKBs. It's unlikely for them to be able to get the initiation first.
Yeah, absolutely. And with a Hawk on the side of Secret, I think Wings are going to have to use smokes very well in the late game when they want to try and take objectives. They've got to be the ones getting the jump onto Secret and making sure they get value out of their BKBs.
See whether or not this smoke turns into value. Completed Mjolnir now for the Furion as they go for a 3-man rush through Radiant Jungle.
And Secret may be thrown off because they see Shadow with their Observer Ward, so the rest of the smoked up heroes could find a pick-off as a result. And yeah, Envy has an Aegis, but maybe at least a ability to kill it once.
And they get bold. They're going to lead Telekinesis into Orchid. Eternal Envy is definitely going to be dying one time here. Can they get him a second time? It doesn't look like they're going to set up for it at all. They just immediately back themselves out. Oh, Shadow reappears with a Shadow Blade, an attempt at a silence, but doesn't actually catch Eternal Envy. He managed to make the jump away, and that means Secret will claim the tier 2.
They like feigned that they were backing off, but Envy was covering all his bases there with that Remnant away.
Now the jump forward, Dream Coil on the Ice. No hope of escaping that one, that's for sure. Free pickoff.
Yeah, so doing a good job too. I mean, they didn't push with the Aegis, but effectively a lot of that damage they dealt, taking the tier 2 tower top, finding the Rubik pickoff, comes as a result of Envy having an Aegis, because he tanks the gank at bottom, doesn't actually lose his real life. And then meanwhile, the rest of the Team Secret were pushing top. They were kind of trying to set up for Envy to be able to TP in and force a fight at the top lane, but Wings at least make sure that they're not going to have to defend their high ground.
Yeah, that was it's a pretty good point. It's funny how so much of this game for Wings actually just comes down to Roshan. Roshan fight number 1 obviously gave up so much tempo for a Drow Ranger lineup, and then Roshan number 2 actually stops Wings from being able to go high ground and force Secret into a defensive position. And this now means that Secret are actually farming pretty efficiently. Like they're all three of their cores are looking. I say cores. I'm referring to the Beastmaster now as a core. Earthshaker is kind of taking a backseat to that guy, but all three of their cores are looking really healthy.
Yeah. And the kind of irony of this game is Wings, their draft and just playstyle is going to turn into what Secret normally do, which is force the split push game, play keep, avoid team fights, and look for pickoffs. This is what we saw Secret in their opening game against Na'Vi, and just often their playstyle, like Envy loves those kind of games. Like this is what Wings are going to have to adapt now if they want to win this game.
Another tower for Secret going to be claimed as Wings not putting up a fight here for the Tier 1. Looks like they may try and fight for Tier 2 though.
No real intent to get involved with that one, and Nature's Prophet just farming away what he can. The BKB on Blink is likely going to be what could change things for Wings as far as being able to fight into Secret when they're pushing. And Secret pushing is the one time where Wings may actually be able to get off a good initiation, because you've got clear vision, at least of 1 or 2 heroes on the front lines. Someone like the Beastmaster, if you can get the jump on him, there isn't the best defensive place to save him if you're just a BKB, Wind Ranger, or Drow Ranger who initiates on the Beastmaster. He's just straight up dead. Whereas Wings, they get initiated, there's always that potential for a relocate save out of Innocence.
That is something to be said. If the BKBs finished up for Wings, the Aegis goes down. Do you think Wings actually try and, say, take that Tier 2 in mid? Do you think they actually start getting a little bit aggressive and trying to force fights with these BKBs? Because if they do continue to play more of a split pushy farm game, there are opportunities where Secret are going to be able to catch you and maybe kill you before you pop that BKB, or even just pop the charges, which Wings are still going to be very dependent on going later into the game.
I think going for a straight up push like for the Tier 2 mid is going to set up Secret up for that exact thing. Nowhere they can catch you before you BKB. Like Secret will just go for that smoke flank, but
Shadow, it's going to be spotted out here. Knows it too. Does manage to get the silence on the Universe. That's going to be a big one. They take him out as well as the Ancient Apparition almost immediately. Now the Primal Roar is going to be wasted. The relocate forward, hoping to be able to get Arteezy, but he orbs himself away. And now here begins the TPs. 1, 2, and 3. All able to make it out. Blink didn't have the Shackle shot up in time.
great initiation. That's the thing. Wings have to catch him by surprise with these smoke plays. They need to be the ones getting the jump. They find the 2 supports, which is actually fine when it's a hero like Earthshaker, who is so important for the side of Secret when they're trying to take team fights. Even against BKBs, he can split up the heroes, prevent the chase using that. Envy needs to be careful here. No relocate available, but
Controlling Blink, buying time. The Primal Roar still not up. The body blocking beautifully set up. Now the Eul Scepter into the orb. Has to pop the BKB. Mech will be able to help keep Wings alive here. Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast may still allow Secret to push forward. As sure enough, Eternal Envy goes for Bian, but doesn't want to stretch it too far. Tries to go for the Sleight of Fist chains, but not good enough. So double Blinks back, and Wings will return to their side of the map. 1 BKB charge down.
I think it's a scenario where Wings, if they can get the next Roshan, they're in a great position to actually be able to push and force fights, because it means they can have a front line who has an Aegis. So if they get jumped by the Roar or the Earthshaker and they die without getting their BKB off, they have the second life. But for Secret, it's more like they need to take Roshan just to stay in this game in some ways. An Aegis on Secret doesn't really allow them to push high ground. It just denies it from Wings more than anything.
Now we have the BKB over Manta on the Ember Spirit in this game. He has to worry about Orchid as well as the Drow Ranger Silence, both of which can be dispelled with Manta. Why do you think BKB is Eternal Envy's choice?
It's going to, again, like you say, if you pop the Manta, you want to be able to fight after it, but there's a secondary silence, the Drow Ranger Silence, which you don't even have to find the real Manta illusion, because it'll just catch all 3. There's Shackle Shots, there's Telekinesis. It just means after you popped it to get out of that first silence, you can then fight for 10 seconds.
Right.
Whereas a Manta style, you pop it to get out of the silence, and it's purely an escape tool where you then remnant away. You can't follow it up by actually fighting.
Yeah. This kind of BKB, it does open up options for the Ember Spirit to just go straight into that Drow Ranger and challenge her in team fights.
And Envy's a player who sometimes goes for unconventional fighting items on his Ember.
Telekinesis, they get the control on Eternal Envy. They will be able to take him out, and the BKB charge used as well.
The fact he got to use BKB means he could have remnanted.
But did he ever remnant up?
It was on the high ground. The right clicks would have followed him and killed him, I believe, though.
the way.
He has no buyback.
Levy just not fast enough, and Wings might be able to take advantage of that buyback being down. 300 gold is what he needed. Wings don't know that, but they may just try and force it out of him anyway. Soon they're going to find out that there's nothing there as the tier 3 tower getting chipped away.
I swear that Dragon Lancer range on the low ground just brings down towers, even when pushing into the enemy base.
Real Scepter leading the way, and that is going to be a silence by Ice. Not bad considering you have the Blink, but they're going to try and catch Blink. They manage to blow him up. Shadow is going to be actually up next. They get the Primal Roar Necronomicon onto him. The 2 big damage dealers of Wings are already gone, and they don't even need the Ember Spirit apparently.
That just happened too fast. Wings just got completely caught out by surprise, and again, you've got to be able to get the BKBs off to get value out of them, and that's exactly what Wings were unable to do. Great initiation from Universe. All the attention from Wings initially is on that Wind Ranger who got jumped, so the Io's like, oh crap, can I relocate, save him? And it's already too late. And then they don't catch the Wind Ranger, who then gets followed up with a Roar. So neither BKB goes off, and just very ballsy play from Secret, defending their high ground without even having to use the Ember Spirit.
Does feel like another mistake because Wind Ranger was missing a decent chunk of HP before Earthshaker managed to get the opening on him. Oh, top lane. Looks like they're going to be able to get a combo here on Puppey, and that is the gem. I'm not sure, is that... Yeah, that's actually Puppey's gem. That wasn't something they claimed from Wings or anything like that, so that is actually a very significant pickoff. Can't believe Puppey was that far forward with that item.
Yeah, you win a big fight, perhaps just in his head he's getting a bit overconfident and thinking he can just push out that top lane, and can rebuy it, but effectively an 1,800 gold swing with the gem swinging the way of Wings. And something that does become very important with this next Roshan fight coming up is going to be the vision game.
We have the Dream Coil, and that is an Ags upgrade for the Puck. So that means these BKBs are actually going to become a little bit more useless for Wings, but that's only if they actually need to move, whether it's forward or back.
And they're range series. It's not like it's an Ags Puck against a Sven or someone who has to chase you with his Warcry and gets kited around by. If you're a Dro or a Wind Ranger, you just BKB, and if they run, you hit the racks because you're using these BKBs on the enemy high ground. So I don't mind the item pickup for the Puck. I just don't think it's as effective against the BKBs as it is in other scenarios.
Yeah, it's going to be most effective when the fight is kind of already won or the initiation is strong enough that Wings are forced to retreat. But with that Aegis in hand, it seems unlikely. Wings are probably going to be, as you said, in a situation where if you try and back out with the Dream Coil on Wings, they're just going to start hitting your buildings.
With this being the third Aegis, it's cheese as well. So this push could just be a straight up man fight out of Wings. They may just try and force the issue without even caring about having someone like the Dro on the front lines getting blown up. It'll make life a lot more difficult. They need to have buyback on heroes like Ember Spirit this time, which Envy for now does have. Puck, similar story.
Ice has played this pretty well. He's almost got an Ags. 37 minutes.
There's a lot of good spells.
Good for
the spells to steal this game are pretty nice with the Shake of Fissure, Echo Slam, the Beastmaster Roar we've seen him steal once. Puck Orb / Coil could be good.
Yeah. Primal Roar is obviously unlikely he'll get Ice Blast, so Primal Roar is obviously the big ability that can Axe upgrade.
Oh, and now he's been orphaned as well. He committed the Yules offensively.
And that means he'll tick out.
That was not the... Needed to just defensively Yules there, but didn't realize there were more heroes rotating in, and with Puck dead, imagine Wings are going to at least go for this tier 2 tower and possibly poke at the high ground to force that buyback.
Oh, Blink inwards as he gets the telekinesis. They're going to try and follow that up with a silence, but unfortunately relocate is just a tad too late. And now they miss out on the opportunity, a secondary pickoff that would have allowed Wings to immediately go high ground. There's still 45 seconds left on Puck, though.
And I think the Hex from the Nature's Prophet was still on cooldown, but Faith Beyond has it again for the push now. They're not going to bother with that mid-tier 2 tower and instead swing bottom. It's always a lot easier to push these side lanes against these big power team-fighting heroes who want to initiate on you, because there's fewer ways for them to actually initiate when they can't come from below you. They have got to come from their high ground or from above.
Yeah, you could see plenty of vision, especially with the Sprout Pylon Die going to be the target here. They want to be able to take away that Ice Blast. BKB activated by Blink is going to be able to prevent a lot of the incoming damage. They get Eternal Envy instead with the Primal Roar stolen by Ice, as now they look for more. Push back, Blink is going to be Dream Coiled up. Universe makes his entrance with an Echo Slam, trying to finish off Blink, but no! Can't quite get him in time, and now Wings will be able to save Blink, and he turns on a Universe, killing him, taking him out of the fight. RTZ going to be up next. Shackle shot it, taken away. Eternal Envy goes for the 2, will be able to get both the Wiz as well as the Wind Ranger, but it cost him his own life, and now Universe may even die back here. That's 70 seconds for the Puck, 90 seconds for the Ember Spirit. Wings, with their big core still up, and now relocate in from both the Wiz as well as the Wind Ranger, they can clean up a second lane of Brax as well atop.
Yeah, knowing that both the main cause of Secret
Or maybe
can't
just go
fight
straight
back,
for Throne.
They bought back the Wind Ranger. They can really just take out at least multiple lanes of Rax, possibly just get the GG off of this. There's no Echo, no Roar, nothing to defend with, and Wings, all it took was one Roshan, and game goes their way.
Just like that, Secret. Couple of pickoffs, and all of a sudden that just turns into the game outright. Straight up Throne with a Draw Ranger strat. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Secret. You thought like some of this game looked okay. The pickoffs weren't great. Like Secret losing, say, Puppy at the top lane, losing Artur a little bit later. Like those were really unfortunate deaths. But some of that game actually looked okay for Secret. Like they were going to be able to at least give a fighting chance at 45 minutes. But Wings say no.
The closest game of this series, I think a few perhaps strategical bad calls coming out from Wings. Like that first Roshan was just the complete wrong call from them, but still, Wings had the right strategy. They kind of transitioned well out of the push strat into a game of pickoffs and transitioned really well into the late game, where all they had to do was wait for someone like Arteezy or Envy to make that miscalculation where they overextend a bit, and then they just kept finding these kills.
Yep. So Wings playing their own style to be able to come out on top in this series against Team Secret. Wasn't the cleanest win in the world, and I'm sure there's a lot to dissect for the panel, figure out whether or not Wings is actually going to be worthy in our next matchup.
Thank you very much, Capitalist and God.